And there it is, nodding on, Bradshaw off before the ball has even been bounced. Cox goes up, wins the opening tap, down to Kerr. Inside 50 for the first time, a high ball, Sampi flies almost. One-hander at ground level, Johnson, he's stripped of the football. Judd in there working, taken off the ball. Play on, Lappin to Copeland. Brisbane relief through Charman at half-back. To the wing, there's Notting, who snuck onto the ground and stayed by the boundary line and gets himself a kick. They line up through the middle of the ground. It was a scrappy-looking kick. Braun will have to go for the West Coast Eagles. Power dishes it out to Black. Numbers 4 to the ball now for Brisbane. Here's Voss. He'll run to 48 metres out. Sets sail for home, the skipper, and bangs through the first behind of the game. Good build-up from Brisbane as we head down to Lockie Reed.
Well, Jace, Daniel Bradshaw is now heading to the rooms. Didn't survive very long. I asked the man that's standing next to him, one of the trainers, and he said he has a back injury. Whether he'll come back or not, not really sure. He did say that there might be a chance, but I would very doubt it.
Good call from Dr. Tim Gossage. A back injury for Daniel Bradshaw as he heads to the rooms. And the ball's with David Wirapunda for the kick-in. So some reshuffling required from Brisbane. But let's be honest, if there's a side who can handle last-minute losses, it is the Brisbane Lions, just so balanced and even right throughout their squad. Lynch to the wing, Lepic across the front of the contest. Voss couldn't get hands on the football. Lepic, Jones committed himself. It comes to Lappin. Toe pokes it towards half forward. Kerr arrives late, forces a contest with Charman. The big man goes back and gathers. Gives it to Black. Black inside 50. Brown now their primary target inside 50.
Yeah, back here.
Free kick.
Yeah, the free kick to Kerr. Black's reacted to not a late tackle, but if it was late, it was by a split second. And if we just, I think he just sort of kicked out towards Kerr there, and the umpire saw it straight onto it. So Daniel Kerr will take the free kick on the half-forward line there for the Brisbane Lions.
So at half-back right. Throwing on centre wing.
Just a nervous start from both sides, Tim. I think everyone was concentrating so much on Bradshaw coming off. We'll now see if we can't organise our matchups.
Cox and Charman. Well done, Charman. Left-handed swat. Knocked down again by Hart. Outnumbered here, Kerr. Tackled hard by Pike. We'll have a ball up. Left half forward for Brisbane. Crowd already 36,500. That beats the previous best between these two teams. Round 5, 2002, 33,313. As much as they want to come and watch the Eagles, they want to see a team like Brisbane here on the West Coast, the champion team of the last 3 years. A free kick. Umpire Rosebery got it right. It was a hand on the shoulder. Charman will get it. He'll give to the run of Brad Scott. Carousel is loose. Takes the mark, reaches over the top. Still testing, 55 out. Macamanis is trying to get off behind him to try and take the running goal. And Carousel will kick to an open goal square. There's no one back. He's missed anyway, through for a minor score. Brisbane doing all the attacking. We've got 3.5 minutes. They're playing with 21. The big news, Daniel Bradshaw already in the rooms, injuring his back in the warm-up. Bradshaw, of course, in for Alistair Lynch.
John Worsfold did say he'd have some players doing some jobs, and at the moment he's got Braun picking up Ackermanis, and also Daniel Chick. We spoke about he needs a big game, and he's picking up Michael Voss.
Rapunda, ugly looking spiral. Brad Scott goes to pick it off his chest. Lynch links up with Embley. Gets boot to ball despite some pressure from Notting, but turns it over to Charman. Ungainly looking left foot kick inside 50. Brown will fly over the top. At ground level it's all Brisbane. McRae sockers off the ground. Another minor score. The Brisbane Lions have 5 inside 50s to 1 at the moment. Dominating play, but yet to really put it on the board.
West Coast can really afford a slow start they've had in the last 3 games, because you give Brisbane the Lions any sort of distance between them on the scoreboard and they will be punished.
Rapunda to the back pocket. Mark taken by Waters. Awkward kick. Braun under some pressure. Ackermanis lurking. Gets boot to ball. Keeps it alive for Brisbane. Bit of holding in that contest. Play on. Black flips it out. Now the umpires pick one for holding. It's going West Coast way.
It'll be Waters.
Struggling to get it out of their own defensive 50 at the moment, as Waters gives it to Judd. The defensive goal square. Short now to Kerr. West Coast will be looking to break this game open and make it a free-flowing shootout. We heard Lee Matthews before the game. His side doesn't like that style of football. They'll look to lock down.
Umpire paid the mark there, Timmy Gossage, and it was a very soft one at that.
Ball's with Lynch. Goes to the long lead of Jones. It was a beautifully weighted kick, and Jones just ran onto it and marked on centre wing. A chance for the Eagles to go forward to the centre. One of the few times in the opening 5.5 minutes. Rowan Jones. They'll contest at 50. Big pack of players. Michael slaps it towards the line and finds it. We'll have a throw in. Great crowd in. Two sides just filling each other out at the moment, getting their matchups right. Cousins and Sean Hart. Ruckman link arms. Sharman got it to the front of the contest. Hart got boots a ball only as far as Fletcher. He slams it on the boot inside 50. Going back is Lappin. Over the top came Michael. At ground level, Jones confronted by a couple. And the ball up 35 metres out from the West Coast goal.
The Brisbane Lions also spoke about having some close checking games going on, and Hart and Cousins will be one to watch. They had it one.
Staker wins it down, rode by Philip Matera. Lepic over the footy. McDougall. Staker, that's almost a throw out the back. Power wants the boundary line. Scott, happy to see it over. Interesting way of getting it through there. Staker, Brent Staker, which is throw along the ground.
Yeah, Timmy, spot on. That ball's gone to ground. Staker just didn't even hit that football, and they just scooped that up, and that definitely was a throw.
Ball back in play. Still inside the Eagles forward 50. Embley swung off it. Did he get a free? No. Black was taken high. No free kick. Umpire plays on. Embley back on his feet. Does well. Gets it back inside 50. Matera taken high. And 37,500 making plenty of noise at Subiaco Oval. Philip Matera goes back with the first genuine shot on goal for the West Coast Eagles.
Plenty of feeling in this one early.
Yeah, Jason, really has been. There's no love lost between the two sides. But at ground level on a day like this is really going to fit into Phil Matera. And the two big ruckmen also having a little bit forward. Yeah, Dean Cox.
Sharman and Cox. Voss in there now as well.
Cox needs to do that too. I mean, with Gardner out, who really is the aggression of the side, Cox does need to stand up.
From 45 metres out, Philip Matera, he's hooked the kick. It's a bad miss, and there's still something going on behind play. First score for West Coast Eagles, who haven't had a goal yet. They've gone almost 8 minutes in front of almost 38,000 fans on an overcast day at Subiaco Oval.
So there's Kerr putting Lepic down. As we mentioned, Sharman and Cox and squared off at centre-half forward with a bit of pushing and shoving. Michael Voss came in to assist as well. And the ball's now with McGrath in the back pocket. Ashley McGrath switches play and finds Johnson. 200th game last week for Chris Johnson. He gives it over the top to Power. Run it outside defensive 50. Links up with Johnson again. West Coast read that pretty well through Embley. Brisbane got out of it. Lappin around the wing, into space now for Brad Scott, can gather. No one coming at him. Looks up and launches long. Brown and Carousella. Brown over the top, got hands to it, couldn't bring it down. Ackermanis, heavy hit from Kerr. He ran over the top of it again. We expect a little bit more push and shove. So Daniel Kerr laying some body on body early in this contest. This time it's Ackermanis.
I'm screaming in here, Daniel, but he just gets his hip low enough to make sure that that bump didn't click any of Ackermanis' head.
Just caught him in the shoulder. And the ball goes over the line for a throw in.
Fine line between that, and it was just really so close to being a free kick in sometimes 50 metres, because they're hot on this at the moment, side tackles.
A feeling of calm before the storm around Subiaco at the moment. The crowd's just lulled, waiting for something to happen as these two sides start to feel each other out. The ball goes inside 50. Numbers at ground level for the Lions. Ackermanis gets onto it, screws it across his body. Bouncing ball for Carousella. Pressure came from Beau Waters. Did well. Beat a couple. Got to his feet rather, and then chipped it to Cousins. And he's an impressive youngster. Made his debut last week, Beau Waters. The 18-year-old from West Adelaide. Turned 18 a couple of weeks ago. Looks good early in his career. Cousins stacks a pass to Staker. Just backward of centre wing. And now he brings it inboard to Chick. He's got Braun over the top, thought about it, but Pike will shut that option down. Wirapunda wide to Cox. And the Eagles just retaining possession through the middle of the ground at the moment. Cox looks up, analyses his options.
This is where they fall down, Jace. Really just don't have an option here at centre half forward.
Kick was touched by Charman. Embley pats it to ground. Power through some traffic. Stood up in the tackle. Got boot to ball. Charman and Cox. A wrestle, and Charman will be the beneficiary of the free kick.
Yeah, another ticky touch, Wood, because they're really both body on body, the big men.
Jamie Charman, number one ruck option for the Brisbane Lions. Without, of course, McDonald and Keating. Ackermanis spears it inside 50. Pike and Carroll at ground level, nodding swoops, slaps it to the line, and we'll have another throw in.
Well, matchups continue. Braun, 3 possessions, Ackermanis already. It's going to be a big day for the young man.
They go at it again, Charman and Cox. Kerr, read it best off hands. Staker hard on the lead. Open forward line for the West Coast Eagles. Staker has Kerr running past. Voss is in pursuit. Kerr looks up. He has McDougall. Good pressure from Johnson. Kerr decides to kick in the McDougall direction. Up, hits him in the chest. Goes back, good second effort. Swung in the tackle. Ball comes to Judd. 55 out. They gang tackle him. No repeat of Brisbane from last year. Chick off a step. A big spiral kick.
Coming back
behind play. That is a huge goal by Daniel Chick. The ball is coming back. It's clear advantage, it's a goal.
The scuffle continues in the centre square. Players just extricating themselves from that.
Just look at that. 3 players all went to Chris Judd. They were just absolutely beeline for the boy, and they just then gave up the opportunity of having spare players. They just all wanted a bit of Chris Judd. Chick sitting out there by himself said, thanks very much. And he has just whacked that on the boot, if you don't mind.
Spiral from 3 yards inside the centre square.
And 1 step, Tim.
A monster talk from Daniel Chick. The free kick was to Judd, taken high in that tackle. Advantage paid. And Chick roosted one home from inside the centre square for the opening goal of the game. Tight and tough in there at the moment. Charman comes in, makes his presence felt.
Had a good start so far, Charman. He really is stepping up to the plate. An opportunity, of course, with Bo McDonald and Clark Keating sitting on the sidelines. So he really wants to take this, and he is playing some games with big Cox.
So there's the youngster Mark Seaby, the debutant in his first game. Got hand to ball, pick up a free kick, advantage paid. Judd bursts away, goes inside 50, Jones his target, stumbled, couldn't quite regain his balance. And the ball slapped to the boundary line. A bit of a September feel to this game, Peter. 2 sides tight and tough early. Defence is locking down, and plenty of just physical pressure in and around the contests. Seaby and Charman. Ground level, Black. Harassed by Fletcher. Chick, he's taken down by Copeland. Sampi extricates it. Gives it to Cousins. Through traffic. Onto the left. To the goal square. And McDougall takes the mark. The West Coast reaping the benefit of just keeping the ball alive in close. Cousins slammed it on his boot, kicked to the top of the square, and McDougall, front and centre, took it on his chest.
Really has become a new art of AFL football. The speed of getting the football out of small confined spaces. They train on this all the time. Cousins was just caging, waiting for it, knowing the ball was going to spill. The umpire lets it run, came out to him, and all young forwards play in front. Golden rule, and it comes off.
4 straight to Andrew McDougall this season. He can make it 5. And the West Coast Eagles have the opening 2 goals of the game. As Justin Leppich comes to the bench, McLaren has already come on for Brisbane, replacing Charman. And Shattuck will now come on for Leppich as the chess games continue.
And we did talk about how the West Coast Eagles needed a quick start, which they haven't had in their last 3 rounds. And this would be almost foreign territory to the West Coast Eagles. Not to the Brisbane Lions, also not great starters.
Justin Leppich Receiving a bit of treatment off the ground. There's the matchup, Lynch on Brown. So the Eagles get the fast up they so desired. And going forward again, Judd off a step, inside 50, Staker, front spot, from behind Sampi, almost the mark, comes to ground, Jones working hard early, ball spills out, umpire says I'll ball it up. It's about 35 out. Goals to Chick and McDougall.
They obviously fancy that matchup, Lynch and Brown.
Seaby wins it down. Picked up by Judd, ricocheted off. Smothered down, taken by Hart. Kerr's been very busy. Had the better of Black. Happy to see it to the boundary line. Daniel Kerr, 5 disposals. Simon Black's had a couple. Luke Power leads all comers with 6.
Busy time around the football. Looking back now, Brisbane don't have a player in their 50. Jonathan Brown just going inside the line now.
McLaren front spot, one down to Hart. Power trying to get away from Fletcher. Strong tackle. Brisbane have numbers behind the footy. Ricochets off the boot of Judd to Black to Scott to Pike. Left foot spiral down the line. A hand in, an important one for McRae, taken by Carroll. He puts the head down. He's gone a long way without bouncing the footy. He went too far without bouncing the footy. Michael Braun, a little winded behind play.
Just a tackle that he had on Martin Pike, and I think he might have just got one a little high.
Trent Carroll a little overexcited there. Had the dash, had the head of steam. Forgot to bounce the footy. Here's Ackermanis, left foot inside 50. Hunter off hands, ball spills to a pundit, threw it out in front of him. Tackle lingered, umpire said play on. Goes back to Hunter, he gathered. It's stolen of him, it's stripped of him. Notting, slung, back to Judd. Quick kick down the wing. Now Brisbane have numbers here. Power's the extra man. Hart saw him out the corner of his eye. Did well, Brisbane. They've worked it out well. To Shattuck, who'll go back to Power. This will be possession number 10. He has a bounce. He's 60 metres out. Brown screaming for it at the front of the square. Kick back. He started strong this week. He was dying for a big game, and he started with a goal and a good mark in defence.
Seaby, his first possession in league football was a good one. To Chambers, through the middle of Subiaco. Low trajectory, spearing past to McDougall. 45 metres out directly in front. Andrew McDougall's kicked one. And a chance for the West Coast Eagles to get away to the opening 3 goals of the game.
Renowned for the use of his football, Callum Chambers, coming up for his first game this season, has been a pretty good touch in the WAFL. It really came in the expense, I believe, of Casey Green, who wasn't using the footy too well. Callum Chambers, really renowned for that. Great kick into his full forward.
So McDougall, it's a big day for him and one of the best in the business, Mel Michael. And this could be a real feather in his cap early. From 45 out, stabs through it beautifully. McDougall's got 2, the Eagles have 3. Great start for West Coast. They lead by 16 points after 18 and a half minutes. And they've managed to get numbers back. Bottle up Brisbane's run through the midfield and then break hard themselves when they win possession.
Bringing the changes, Coach Lee Matthews, with Michael Voss now going forward, Daniel Chick going with him all the way. A couple of weeks ago, Voss kicked 7 from centre half forward.
So another change from Lee Matthews. Michael Voss now gone to full forward, one out with Daniel Chick, and as you can see, opening up the space for him to work inside 50, which returns Brown to centre half forward.
16-point lead, cricket bounce. Michael Braun receiving treatment to the nose.
A little bit of claret. 2004 vintage.
Hart keeping an eye on Ben Cousins. Third man up in the contest was Embley, as good as a kick. That 35-metre punch. Notting, chipped wide to Scott. Brisbane forced to the boundary line. The Eagles defence doing a great job. Been very Brown conscious. Brisbane, here's Ackermanis. They boo him because he's good. But on this occasion, Ackermanis wanted 50 metres against Chambers. Chambers did very well to get across and smother that ball. Seavey again, good hands down. Grabbed up Jones, will have a ball up. It's been a bit brown or bust, hasn't it, for Brisbane? They've been conscious of him, they've kicked to him, and at the moment he's lowered his colours.
Really has only been their only target, Tim, so you can see why they've gone towards Jonathan Brown. But now with Voss back there now, they've got to be looking for him.
Would have gone to Bradshaw, but at the moment he's in the showers. Back injury prior to the game in the warm-up, costing him a spot in the starting 22.
Certainly has thrown out the structure. Usually they play Lynch at full forward, and he goes no further than about 30 metres out from goal. They went with a Pagan's Paddock style with Jonathan Brown, decided that wasn't the way to go. Now they've got Voss one out.
Slap forward to Brown. Interesting give. The reverse angle would be worth viewing, because those fans on the far side, there it is there. This is a job for Daniel Chick on Michael Voss. He's been down on form, Chick. He wanted a big job. He was given it by Worsfold, and he's come up trump so far. Atkins, good against Essendon. He's been good, actually, in the side this year. And that man there, Chris Judd, who can forget his first half, round 12 last year in Brisbane.
Luke Powell leads the game with 10 possessions. It's best 5 from Kerr, Judd, Sharman and Scott. Carousella bangs it on the boot, high inside 50. Pike versus Carroll. Carroll does enough, gets it to the line for a throw in.
West Coast would be very happy with that matchup. I think Pike and Carroll does suit Trent Carroll, Martin Pike's style of football. Not overly quick. The ball back into Trent Carroll's style of play.
And at the other end of the ground, you've got McDougall and Matera, 2 out in the goal square against their respective opponents, and no one else in their half of the ground. Ball still alive for Carroll. Now Judd weaves through traffic like only he and maybe Robert Harvey can. Towards the wing, strong mark overhead from Jones, but then Sol Cousins into enormous trouble. And an opportunity goes begging there for the West Coast Eagles.
All the good work that Rowan Jones did to get the front position there. Strong mark overhead. What a silly give. Just over-conscious of his captain giving that football to him in that area.
McLaren and Seavey, the 2 youngsters. Ackermanis got boots of ball, tumbles it towards half forward. Carroll takes possession, now taken down by Pike. It's picked up by Brad Scott. Snaps it across his body. Going back with the flight was McRae. It spills to Power. He can release McRae now. 15 out, tight angle, dribbles it. Looks good. That is a super piece of football. Craig McRae going at full tilt, heading towards the boundary line, and still with the poise and balance to dribble it through.
There's just too many numbers there for Brisbane. West Coast just only had David Wirapunda in between the 3 players to prevent them going on goal. They had all the choices in the world, and they just did it pretty well in the end, Powers. I think looked at Wirapunda again, just trying to keep in there. We're just hoping to see a hole there, but just good work from the Brisbane boys.
Stunning goal, the first for the Brisbane Lions. Well into time on, crowd almost 39,000. The Eagles hold sway by 10 points. Big bump, Cousins on Hart, ricochets back the Eagles' direction. Well done, Carousella, Copeland, hit and hope hand pass, it comes to Wembley. Jones has been good. Lost possession. Now Brisbane running. Hart kicks down the line. Pike is the target. Well done, Carroll, put the hand up. Won the ball to the boundary line.
Well, we always speak about how we don't think the West Coast side is really too strong in defence. Jonathan Brown at the moment, 1 possession. Quinton Lynch doing a great job on it.
Ben Cousins has only had a couple. No clear tap. Second chance to McLaren. Here is Brown. Knotting, left foot back to the goal square, 1-on-1. Voss in best position, back with the flight. Chick made a contest of it. They dive over the top, stolen by Wapunda. Short to Wembley. Wapunda backs up. Good run from Chambers. Staker comes out hard, should give. Now Chambers is still loose on the centre wing. He'll go back to Wembley. Wembley's kick had to be good. Brisbane did well in the end. Eagles had numbers, and Chambers was camped on centre wing, and Michael Voss finding it tough early. Daniel Chick lost side of the footy. Voss, who normally take those 9 times out of 10.
Just dropped it clean, didn't he? McLaren. Black bumped it forward to Carosella. Releases the hands. Scott bumped into Black. Carroll dives on it. Now Kerr for the West Coast Eagles. Good opening term from them as we count down to the 3 minutes left in the opening quarter. Cousins now to Fletcher. He can run. Power comes across to shut him down. Towards half forward. Clears Rowan Jones. Spills to the back. Socket off the deck by Michael. And gathered in by Johnson. Now to Lappin. Wide open space for Carosella to look up. Voss leads. Goes straight up the middle to him. Good use of the body from Chick. Just worked Voss off the line of the ball. It's still alive for Brisbane. McRae now to Voss. To the pocket and Brown. And he's got it 20 metres out from goal. Tough angle.
They did everything right.
Looks to square it up, Brown.
That's play on, isn't it?
Decides against it.
4 steps to the right.
There's a little handball. It was pretty slick from McRae to Voss. The West Coast crowd not all that keen on it. The ball now with Jonathan Brown. Right up against the fence. No doubt getting plenty of friendly advice from the West Coast fans. Kicks for goal. Looks pretty good. Is pretty good. Brown gets his first. Brisbane their second. And they've pretty much squared up this contest again. The margin back to 4 points.
Coach Horswell really ringing the changes. Michael Braun had cleaned up that nose. He'll be straight back on. Big Cox comes back onto the ground. Not a bad start from young Seavey. His first AFL performance. Find it very hard doing it by himself, Coxie, today.
Yes, Mark Seavey takes a rest. His AFL debut. Brisbane back in the contest inside 2 minutes first quarter. Black to Hart. Pike on the end of this. Slipping was Morrison. Judd. Little 1-2 with Fletcher. Kick has to be accurate. Kerr in best position. Bounced off his head. Brisbane with numbers. Scott and Kerr. Great stuff, Kerr. Second and third effort. Looks up for assistance. It comes to Fletcher. He can probe with a long left foot kick inside 50. Spots a man up. McDougall. Mel Michael went across to try and cut off Phil Matera and try and offer some assistance to McGrath. And in the meantime, great vision by the Eagles to spot up McDougall. He'll go back and have a shot for his third.
Yeah, again, great vision by Fletcher to see McDougall coming out, but it really came from Staker. He is really doing a great job at centre half forward for the West Coast Eagles. He came in, put a heavy tackle on, spilled the football out, and gave Daniel Kerr the opportunity to get that football out to Fletcher. So far, he's done a fantastic job with his now second opponent in Shattuck at centre half back for the Brisbane Lions.
Couldn't smell the footy in the first couple of weeks, Andrew McDougall. Pretty good last week against Essendon. 2 goals today, and that should have been 3. His bread and butter stuff for a full forward.
Just didn't follow through with a kick. Just stabbed at it. After he's already kicked a reasonable goal. Just didn't show any confidence with that kick on football.
36 seconds remaining on the clock to quarter time. Chris Johnson, given the hurry up, decides to go long. McLaren and Cox. Shattuck will come across and Kerr will take the mark. He was the smallest player in the contest. Still time for the West Coast Eagles. He's 60 metres out. Cox presents about 48 metres out from goal. Sampi leads, doubles back now. Well, he went towards Adkins and Jones. It was picked off by Copeland. There's still 15 seconds left. Carroll did well, punched it away from Pike. And then went again at ground level, socket it forward to Sampi. Needs to bang it on the boot. They need a mark inside 50. Adkins, 3 seconds remaining. Goes towards the goal square. Kick floats wide. It's out on the full. And that's all she wrote for the first quarter here at Subiaco. West Coast take a 5-point advantage to the opening change. They're 3-2-20. Brisbane 2-3-15. McDougall with 2 goals, 1 to Chick. While McRae and Brown, the opening goal kickers for the Brisbane Lions.
Hang on to your hat. Adelaide's got the welcome mat out for St Kilda, and it's BYO, your best.
Crows are back in front.
The Crows and the Saints.
Here come the Saints.
tonight on Fox Footy Channel. When the sirens sounded and scores are tallied, how did your team shape up on the weekend? Fox Footy Channel's expert crew has all the answers on the winners. The winners, 7:30 Sunday night.
Here we go. It's the Anderson twins. Mate, this is our big chance. You just got to be our wingman. Hi. I'll show you these. Wait. Dad, do you know Chris is a great dancer? No, I don't really care.
It's always new what mates do.
Powerful performance, precision handling, and aerodynamic body, the Camry Sportiva is built for great roads.
At our school, the first thing we teach our students are simple words. Then we teach them about shapes. And finally, how to recognize different objects.
And we have...
Whoops. It takes a lot of time and patience to teach our students. And it takes a lot of money. So please help our puppies graduate by donating to Guide Dogs Victoria. Every dollar helps them graduate.
I've killed a hell of a lot of people to get to this point. I roared, and I rampaged, and I got bloody satisfaction.
You've got to start becoming afraid of her because she is coming.
And when I arrive at my destination, I am gonna kill Bill.
Join me in remembering a golden era from the Fox Footy Vault, the Stuckers legend. An era blessed with the spectacular. A fantastic mark. An era where tough men hit hard.
Oh, he got steamrolled there.
From the Fox Footy Vault with Ron Barassi.
Wednesday nights on Fox Footy Channel.
Live Monday night, the team line up an exclusive interview with new Bulldog star Jade Rawlings on the couch.
Rawlings goes for it. Goal!
Fresh from his first shootout with his old teammates in the MCG, the panel asked Rawlings why he left the Hawks. Jade Rawlings on the couch, live Monday on Fox Footy Channel.
Time at Subiaco, and it's the home side 3-2-20 leading Brisbane 2-3-15. Andrew McDougall, the only multiple goal scorer in this game with 2. Luke Power leads with 11 possessions. What was an interesting quarter of football. No goals until the 11-minute mark. As we take a look at the match stats, Brisbane with a touch more in the disposals department. Really not a lot between them, Peter. It pretty much reflects the flow of the game. Not a lot between them.
No,
These two sides.
Certainly right, Jace. Clearances again, 10 each. At centre clearances there, West Coast Eagles 3, and that's from Chris Judd, who at the moment has 8 possessions, but has been fantastic in and out of the big packs.
Free kick 6-3 in favour of the West Coast Eagles. There's one other game of round 4 action on this afternoon. It's at the MCG. It's full time between Melbourne and Port Adelaide. Replay scheduled on various networks. So if you don't want to know the score, look away now. They started badly for Brisbane when they lost Daniel Bradshaw in the warm-up with some sort of back injury. He came off the field 1 second into the game. And the news has now got worse for Brisbane as well as we head down to Lockie Reid to tell us all about it.
Yeah, Jace, a very unfortunate start for the Brisbane Lions. Justin Leppich came off at about the 13-minute mark of the first quarter, and I can tell you he spent about 25 minutes of non-stop treatment on a upper thigh or maybe even groin injury. He had it all strapped in the upper thigh. He has tried to run around at the quarter time then. Really did look like he was struggling. He stood on the outside of the huddle and really hasn't taken part in much of the discussion heading into this second quarter. I very much doubt whether he's going to come back onto the ground.
Well, he's certainly coming to the interchange bench again in this term, and Peter, it throws out Brisbane's goal-to-goal line even more.
Yeah, it certainly does, Jason. You can see the tape that Justin Leppich is pulling off. Now, that's done just to try and shorten the stretching of the actual muscle. Looks like an abductor to me. Must admit, been there before. I don't think we'll see him too much in the rest of the day.
Well, Leppich was one option to maybe go forward as a key attacking target for them. He's now off the field as well, so no Bradshaw, no Leppich and no Lynch for the Brisbane Lions, and suddenly West Coast's perceived weakness in their goal-to-goal line, they're coming back to the field a little bit, Brisbane.
Yeah, and so far Trent Carroll really has been pretty good in that area in the back half on Jonathan Brown. So far the West Coast Eagles, as you said, Jason, their spine is standing up.
Second term at Subiaco, the Eagles leading by 5 points. Sharman in the ruck against Cox. Sharman fists it forward. Carried forward in the tackle there was McRae. Free kick against Wirrpunda as Leppich continues to get some work. McRae, high ball inside 50. Off the back of the contest. Voss lurking. Chick strips him of the football. He's now taken down. Judd emerges from the congestion. He goes for a run outside defensive 50. Looks up, spots a target wide. It's Staker. Putting in the big ones to get there. Good effort from Copeland. Worked the angles beautifully and forces the turnover to Shattuck. He goes inboard to Charman and he takes the mark. West Coast 3-2-20. Brisbane 2-3-15. Opening minute of the second term. And the ball now back to Shattuck. It's a long lead from Brown. Never quite made it to the drop zone. And Braun takes it to the line.
Both the ruckman in Cox and Chalmers are really giving themselves a lot of space at the moment and starting to really get some possessions on the board.
Cox spins off Charman. Charman will now get it at the back of the contest. It opened up for him. Inside 50, a one-on-one between Voss and Chick. Chick got to the right side of the contest, protected the ball, and slapped it to the line. Michael Voss, 2 possessions in the opening term.
Almost like being in the army. When Chick's pushed towards the boundary line, then the man is on a mission.
Ackermanis with 5 touches, Black with 5, Lappin with 4 in the opening term. Cox back towards the line, and we'll do it all again. Some of the big names there for Brisbane, not getting an awful amount of football in the opening term. Judd's had 9, Kerr 8, Fletcher 4 and Cousins 3. The main midfield quartet for the West Coast Eagles. Cox and Sharman link arms once again. Sharman flicks it to the back, was looking for Black. Voss collides heavily with Judd. Slaps it forward, the Brisbane skipper, only as far as Cox. Now to Judd again. Starting to have an influence. Taken down, quick hands to Fletcher. Hangs onto it through traffic. And now they work it out towards Embley. A lot of pressure coming outside 50, and Corrie chips in to take the mark. And Anthony Corrie with his first disposal in league football. Little give to Ackermanis. He chips inside 50 and finds Brad Scott. Just incessant pressure there from the Brisbane Lions. Refuse to release it outside their own forward 50.
Andrew Embley just trying to be a little bit too cute in the defensive half. He really should have just given that an almighty boot, looking for the boundary line on the wing for the West Coasters. The turnover, pretty expensive. But when Brisbane do get the footy, they are awesome.
So Brad Scott broke his leg in round 22 last year and missed out on playing in another premiership. It's 4th in their best and fairest until that time. Just inside 50, kicks on its way, will ride it home. Beautiful kick from Brad Scott, and the Lions have the lead at Subiaco. Scott gets his first, Brisbane their third, and it's 3-3 to 3-2. Played 3 minutes second term.
A very expensive turnover again. Andrew Embley just, I think, taking the wrong option here and trying to be a little bit cute. And the first game comes in and looks for the bleached one, hands it off very, very well. You can't do that against a class side in Brisbane. You've just got to make sure you play the percentages, and Embley letting himself down and his side.
Anthony Corrie, nice touch. His first in AFL footy. And with it, Brisbane take the lead for the first time in the game. Already, basically down to 20 men. No Bradshaw, and unlikely to see Leppich again. Hart, good second effort. Ricocheted back to him. Wapunda, big shepherd by Lynch, got rid of McRae. Eagles work to centre wing. Cousins has to stop and wait. Corrie met him hard. Was he over the line? He was. Never throw in. There's Lynch. Solid hip and shoulder shepherd.
105 kilos. You don't mind.
Close to 45. Tough little critter, Craig McRae. A lot of players around this footy. It's not going to go anywhere quick. Corrie's underneath that pack. Luke Power 11 possessions. Sean Hart 8. Sharman and Brad Scott 7. Judd 10 for the Eagles. Kerr on the bench, starting this quarter on the bench with 7 kicks and a handball.
Sean Hart doing a great job on Cousins too. 3 against 7.
There is Cousins, wants to burst past his teammate in Jones. Lappin, errant handball, taken by Judd. Took too long, that's holding the ball. Good tackle by Charman. He's working hard, the big fella. It's a good contest between he and Cox. But Charman seems to do a lot more around the ground, as evidenced there by that strong tackle. So Brisbane lead by a point. We've gone 5 minutes. Here's Judd, first option, should have given it off. And that's a very good tackle by the Brisbane ruckman. He'll go short to Copeland. That's a terrible kick. And they've turned it over. Sampi just has to squeeze it forward. It's come to Judd. He's at the centre square. Umpire waved advantage. It was a free kick behind play. McDougall tunnels it forward. McGrath hasn't had a lot to do. He's flipped over. McGrath keeps the ball in play. Well done. Now he's looked up. The only man out there is Ackermanis. The boundary line would be the best option. Ackermanis does it beautifully. 4 on 1 out there. If he'd lost possession, that could have been costly, but gee, Robert Coates, what a terrible kick that was back into the middle.
Yeah, pretty ordinary, and really they should have used the opportunity there, West Coast, but Judd, I think he was just spent. Couldn't quite get the disposal away that he wanted.
Throw in. Cox got it down. It's picked off by Lappin. He goes to ground. Flips it back towards Ackermanis in the boundary line. Ackermanis keeps it alive. Gains some territory around the outer wing. Brownie's target. Never a chance to mark. McRae flashed in. It was done well by Lynch. Puts it back to 50. Johnson flew early. Spills to the back of the contest. Here's a chance for Michael. He's taken down by Staker. Ball still alive. Brisbane working hard in defence, and now it's Johnson from defence in 50. Ugly kick. Fortuitous to Lappin. And still they work it around the outer wing. Lappin and Jones to the boundary line. Throw in.
Really has been a lot closer game for Matera. Only 1 possession so far in the game today, and even in this area here, looks like he might have come up a bit ginger, having a dirty day, the little ant.
Cox slapped it to the front of the contest. Players pile in from all directions somehow. Brisbane got it out, but it was a throw. That was how. Free kick West Coast is going to Kerr. Nice touch for Daniel Kerr. It's Justin Leppich still getting treatment. Inside 50, Judd's led to the pocket, and Kerr obliges. Chris Judd coming up for his 12th touch, which is a game high, and he's starting to have a real influence from midway through that opening term.
He's had an absolute mile, Chris Judd, on that occasion.
Tough kick. The Dynamite Kid is capable of anything from 45 metres out. Look at that. Judd gets his first.
And off he comes, guys.
You mentioned he was looking a bit fatigued. It's pretty handy if he can just bob up and kick a goal from the boundary for you before he jogs off.
Well, we talk about how good he is, and so is his replacement, who has been in some great form, young Adkins. Again, another quick footballer across the ground with a penetrating kick. So Worsfold using his bench very well, and Adkins straight into the middle to help out Cousins and Kerr.
Receiving the congratulations for that wonderful goal, Chris Judd, his 10th kick. The Eagles regain the lead. Adkins on for Judd. Cox does well, stands underneath the pressure. Kerr, there's Charman again, was taken high. No, according to the umpire. Interesting, this West Coast Eagles outfit contains no premiership players, and I dare say, with no Banfield and Jakovic, the two remaining 94 premiership players, Peter Wilson, it's been a long time since the Eagles team has had a team on the ground without a premiership player in it.
I think it's about all over in that area.
Copeland, third man up. Again, it's like a kick. He's made 30 metres. Wapunda wants to keep the ball in front or towards the boundary line. So far, so good. Does well. David Wapunda, he was under pressure. We'll have a throw in, 75 out, Brisbane's goal.
The other end of the spectrum, Tim. Brisbane have 20 premiership players out there. McLaren and Corrie, the only two to not have a medal.
Mentioned earlier, finals-like atmosphere, 39,500. Brown out of the ruck contest. Umpire said it was touched off the boot. Lynch sort of claimed it. Umpire was waving his hands around. Kerr tries to shake the hips. Good tackle from Black. With a throw in, it's touched off the boot. Well, the mark wasn't paid to Quentin Lynch. Just the two fit men on the bench for Brisbane, McLaren and Pike. Lepridge injured, groin. Bradshaw back, not taking any part in the contest. Manis again doing work close to the boundary line. I'd like to know how many stats he's had 1 yard from the boundary line.
He's up to 8 possessions at the moment, Tim, but every possession he's had, Michael Braun or Callum Chambers has been within 1 or 2 metres of him. They've just been scrambles, not what we're used to seeing from Ackermanis.
Plenty of noise from the West Coast Eagles fans. They realise the importance of this game. Brisbane unbeaten. Nishi Cox was taken down. Umpire won't pay advantage if Cox will go back. Defensive 50, the Eagles lead by 5 points. We've gone 10 minutes. An entertaining game in the second quarter.
Well, Lee Matthews getting his way in so far as it's turned into a defensive scrap. Not a shootout at this stage, but it's actually working out okay for the West Coast Eagles to play this style of football. Fletcher's handball somehow stayed alive. Hart to Notting. Runs to 40 metres out. Chips it at the last minute going to Voss. Probably should have gone himself. Now chip to Waters. And West Coast can counterpunch. Wapunda in best position, floating across with Kerr, and took the mark.
Fantastic kick from the young 18-year-old. Only his second game of AFL footy, but he uses the football so well and crossing the lines with big kicks.
10th touch for Daniel Kerr coming up. Honours the lead from Hunter. He marks. Matera deep in the goal square. Now to Cox. On to Waters. Matera leads to the pocket. Embley there as well. Couldn't quite bring it in. Out of bounds on the full. Brad Scott saying it came off his head. Let's have another look. There's the juggling effort from Embley. So McGrath off the head of Brad Scott, he's claiming, and over the line. It's pretty adamant, Brad Scott. But it wasn't out of bounds on the full. The ball's now with Embley. Up against the fence. Kick from just inside the 50. Tries to work it back from right to left, can't do so. Big tackle fly. Still alive at ground level for the Eagles. Staker couldn't get boot to ball. Sampi lurking to pinch it. In there working hard is Michael to Copeland. Throws it on the boot. They need the boundary line, Brisbane, because it's all West Coast. And they find it.
They know where the boundary line is, Brisbane. They work the boundary better than any team in the comp, don't they? Ackermanis lives on the boundary line.
I think if it was another foot wider, he'd probably be there as well.
Throw in just inside 50 for West Coast. Charman and Seaby. Fletcher in there working hard. Lappin with his head over the ball. Gets it out. Handball to Charman. He's had an influence around the ground towards McRae. That's a strong mark, not paid. In the end, the free kick was paid. In the back. Craig McRae plays on, wants to move it quickly. Brown tracking back with the flight. Coming out is Voss. Again, over and out for yet another throw in. Only often this afternoon. This will be throw in number 23. Ahead to 12 ball ups. So, as we mentioned, both sides playing the flanks and hugging the boundary line pretty closely. Here's Voss and Chick. Another throw in. Brown and Lynch with the ruck work. It's split to Hunter. Now to Waters from half back. Can set up through Embley. Beautifully weighted kick. Embley marks centre wing. Wants to move quickly. Chips forward to the lead of Staker. Again. It's too wide. Out of bounds. Throw in.
Some of the lesser lights really starting to jump up as far as possessions are concerned, because the matchups are continuing. They've got Black and Kerr, very rarely too far from each other here. Lappin now being picked up by Jones.
Morrison on for Chambers. Judd about to come back on for the West Coast.
There's 8 one-on-one contests of players that are elsewhere around the ground. The rest of the players on this ground all in around this ball, which is why it's so scrappy.
Cousins off. Just the 3 possessions. Being tagged by Hart. Jones tunnel balls it back. Ooh, Waters got one high, should get a free kick, and does. He's courageous, the young man. Put his body in over the ball. He's taken high by Black. Now play on. Not really too clever, because he sold Fletcher in trouble. Johnson flew, didn't take the mark. Jones a little give to Adkins. Slews off the side of the boot. So an untidy patch of play. Down the line, Carosella off hands. Here is Black, taken hard by Sampi. It was strong. Mark taken by Brown. Players running for him out wide. He looks up, still wants a one-on-one contest. Voss and Chick, that's the direction the kick takes. Wapunda back, forced to spoil. Waters again, hits it hard, loses possession. Ball on the ground. Well, the ball up, 43, 44 metres out.
Interesting situation, that one. McRae stood out of the contest because he knew Voss was thundering out to take the mark, but that left Wirrapunda one out to just go and punch it away, Peter.
Yeah, and he's good in that area, David. Will get his hand to the contest every time.
Seaby, stolen by Black. To Notting, looks up, chips inside, 50. Didn't quite have enough on the kick. Carosella up and under. Voss, Sampi standing underneath it. Good mark, Sampi. Stood his ground. With one of the top men of the AFL bearing down on him. Gave up some height. Good mark.
The vertical leap on this boy is amazing. I think he did lead in the AFL in the trials, just going straight one-on-one up in the air.
Embley around the outer wing for Adkins. Lunges, makes it good. Third touch for Damien Adkins coming up. Kicks into the man on the mark, Johnson. Embley arrives, and now it's a 2-on-2. Slapped into open space. They converge from all angles. Acker managed to run onto it. We mentioned he hasn't had much space. Had more there than he realised as he tumbled it forward towards Voss and Chick. And that is a matchup that John Worsfold will be delighted with at the moment. Michael Voss just 2 touches as Daniel Chick snaps it to Braun at half back. Waters has got some space, and Braun obliges. Bo Waters at half back. Again, just set up for West Coast. Not a lot of flow from either side in this game. It's been very stop-start. Seaby in centre wing, couldn't bring it down, and it spills to the back. Black. Handball in the space for Lappin to run onto. He'll spear it inside 50. Waters again to come across and cut off the lead from Voss. Chick gave it up, then got it back. Under some pressure. Waters in trouble. He's taken down. Wirrapunda. Voss on his hammer. Took him illegally. And the Eagles will repel once again.
The magician, David Wirrapunda, in that area, just manages to keep the football totally under control, but just doesn't take possession. And I think Michael Voss had no other way out there. He just had to put that tackle on.
Wirrapunda elects to kick down the line. Again, right to the boundary and forced out. Adam Hunter had broken to the broadcast side of the ground and was screaming for it. Wirrapunda didn't want to take the risk. Have another throw in. Martin Pike watches on. Again, a swarm of players around this contest. Both sides happy to really flood around the ball this afternoon. Black. McLaren on hands and knees. Jones tries to farm it out. Fletcher did well, kept it in front of himself. Released his hands to Braun. Now he can chip it forward to Seaby. Handball behind Judd. Now under some pressure. Bursting through was Jones. 65 out. Shattuck, McDougall. Shattuck was tracking it back. McDougall was the oncoming lead. Shattuck couldn't get there. And McDougall took it comfortably on his chest. And will go back to kick for his 3rd goal.
Chris Judd, again, a significant part in that play, how he just keeps onto the football, moving it forward and giving his teammates every opportunity. Good change here. Bo Waters coming off. Fabulous young boy at 18 years of age. Really is as hard as nails. I love to watch him play football. Their replacement, though, number 9, Ben Cousins.
So McDougall, 35 out directly in front. hits the post. So he's kicked 2, but he's probably wasted 2 that he should have kicked. West Coast Eagles on a day when goals are hard to come by, lead by 6 points as we head down to Lockie Reed.
Well, Jace, there is some hope for Justin Lipic. He's just got off after another 20 minutes of non-stop physio. He's running up and down the boundary line, so that is positive.
Sampies, snaps and goals. It was a spearing kick in. West Coast took advantage. Well, I just mentioned how difficult goals are to come by. Ben Cousins has copped one across the right eye there and won one for his team. They got a goal out of it, Peter. We mentioned the values of goals have been hard to come by, and that is a golden one for the West Coast Eagles. They now lead by 12 points. Blood rule in effect.
Yeah, pretty hard hit too, but you just really can't be happy when your fullback kicks a football in like that.
Ben Cousins off, head clash with Luke Power, trying to win that 50-50 ball. It's spilled to Sampi. So it hasn't been a great day for the captain, but his commitment there to share that ball. And Sampi snapped a beautiful goal. And there's Ben Cousins going off the ground, not exactly through the interchange area, I must say. He was about 1 foot to the wrong side. There's the head clash.
Oh, look, it won't hurt his modelling career. He'll be fine, Ben Cousins. Worsfold's taking the opportunity here to get the match-up right. He's taken Cox onto the ground now and gone forward with the big man.
Judd has been outstanding. Jones good. Fletcher lifting his rating as well. Adkins runs on. Treatment goes on for Ben Cousins. Handy break. 2-goal lead. Inside 50. McDougall will be the flyer. Michael over the top. No mark. Matera front of the pack. Cox tackled strongly. There's Power. Under pressure. This is the entire Brisbane Lions defence. Don't want to harp on it, but Ben Cousins certainly didn't go off through the interchange gates.
I think, Tim, there is actually a little bit of leeway either side of that now. I think it might be 3 to 5 metres, which is crazy. I mean, that's what the interchange gates are there for. But
3 to 5 metres. The interchange area is only 5 metres long.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of blurred vision from the skipper.
Seaby. As if we haven't had enough controversy today or drama with Daniel Bradshaw. We don't need any more. There's the captain.
Look, he needs to be mucked up a little bit anyway. It's too pretty for football, this boy.
So Cannon, the black brandishing the scissors, mind you. Throw in. Into time on. Free kicks 11-6 favour the home team. There's Ackermanis has worked hard. Power, a little give. Possession 13 to Lappin. They run through the centre. The first lead come from Brown. Now Lappin can load up here. He's had 4 bounces. He runs inside 50. Brisbane need a goal. Lappin obliges. Great comeback, the Lions. Great stuff.
Something they haven't been able to do much this afternoon, Peter. That's break into open space and just get their good users out into the open.
It's the first time really Lappin's got an opportunity to get away. He's carried the football very well. I don't want to harp on young footballers. But young Quinton Lynch just went with Brown all the way there, just too worried about his own man. He should have gone to the Brisbane Lions player coming at goal.
Brilliant by Ackermanis.
Committed his body. One lacking some open space, and Brisbane claw back to within 6 points. Power now out of the middle. Brisbane putting the foot down. Searching kick to the goal square. It's going to bounce over the back. It could bounce through. It does for a behind. Again, Brisbane just sensing the danger. Margin got out to 12 points. West Coast looking to make a move, and Brisbane have hit back with a couple of important contested balls in the last couple of minutes. Ben Cousins looks to return to the heat of battle.
As his boss coming out of full forward now, going back into the midfield. Simon Black at full forward for the Brisbane Lions.
Punter goes long outside 50. Good mark to Mark Seaby. A couple of nice things this afternoon. Big raps on this youngster, 4th in the Sandover medal last year. Punter chipped into the path of Adkins and Jones. Jones will go back and win it. Gives it to Fletcher. Forward of the ball is Embley. Can spear inside 50. McDougall the target. Shoulder to shoulder with his man Shattuck. Johnson went off the deck and kicked it out on the foot. So So Matera lurking with the football, happy to take it. Possibly could have been Sampy's free kick. Phil Matera. Johnny on the spot as always, and a chance to kick for goal from right on 50. We saw Embley drift one across the face here 10 minutes ago. Opportunities few and far between this afternoon for Matera from 50 metres out. He's tugged it left. Scrapes in for a minor score. 2 behinds to Phil Matera. A lean afternoon for him so far. Just the 2 possessions. The stalemate continues. Goal the difference. We've played 24 minutes in the second term. Last kick out from Chris Johnson resulted in a direct turnover. This time he takes the safe option and goes to the back pocket and Corrie.
He'll go back. Johnson is taken high. Now the umpire was going to pay advantage, and now he has. Everyone stopped and started. Hart. Scott. Eagles are doing well. They're herding them up inside their 50. Voss down the line. Can they break away here, Brisbane? No. Turn it over. Well done. West Coast forward line. Now they're going to pay the price, although Chambers got close to the man on the mark. That's a poor kick in the end. Brisbane, they work it out. Just. Shattuck. Beat Corrie for the footy. Quick transference of play. Brown's taken the mark. They're screaming inside 50 for him. Brown looks up. Out hard on the lead. Carousella one-handed hold. Free kick. We go to the West Coast Eagles. We go to Morrison. So, ordinary play by both teams then. Brisbane did it the hard way with about 8 or 9 handballs. The Eagles, the forward line, defending stoutly. Here's Judd. This will take him to 15 possessions, matching that of Luke Power. Ticking down towards 3 minutes to go down the line. Embley did well to work to the front spot. Copeland's outnumbered. Chambers. Hand pass. Probably could have done a little better. Voss, kick smothered. Chick's having a very good day. So's this man Kerr. Went to kick, then hand pass, and should have taken the form up. Stop the tape. The last 3 minutes have been shocking.
Won't be packaging this one up and sending it overseas.
No.
Has been brought about by the close checking from both sides, though, boys. We haven't seen this from the West Coast Eagles in a long time, but the defensive style of game.
Simon Blackoff, Judd. He'll bust the game open quickly. Fletcher, strong tackle, spills to Cousins, has Hunter over the top. Robert Wall's favourite player. The ball will pitch. Not suited. Well done, Wapunda. Well done, Hunter. Hand pass into open space. He heard a voice. Hopefully it was Stakers. It was. Staker does well. Gets away from a couple of tackles. Inside 50. Phil Matera on the lead. Well done, Brent Staker. Hunter and Wapunda combined. Wapunda's pulled up short behind play, mind you. Phil Matera will go back for a shot on goal about 40 metres out directly in front.
Again, good work from some of the lesser lights of the West Coast Eagles. And that, again, as we keep on speaking about, such a close match-up between opposition superstars at the moment. The younger boys just coming into their own at the moment. So Hunter and, well, yes, as Robert Wall said, not his favourite player.
Great kick. Goal. Much needed. Coming up to half-time. West Coast get their 6th. Lead by 2 goals inside 2 minutes.
I must admit, it's amazing when you see young players sort of being set upon by commentators. So I must admit, Adam Hunter, for me, I think is a very good player. I like the way he goes about it, nice and hard at it, and was renowned as a junior as a full forward. So I think doing a good job at the back half.
Voss, the move has been made, he's into the middle. Lee Matthews made that move about 3 or 4 minutes ago. Voss just with 3 possessions, growing cold, standing at full forward in the first half. They need their skipper to have an input and an impact this afternoon. Judd toe poked it forward, Power ran onto it, linked up neatly with Hart. Now Ackermanis, 11th touch for him. Spears it inside 50. Sharman and Staker clears the contest. First back will be Wirrapunda and Morrison. And they combine. Now links up with Lynch. The big man looks up, wants to switch play. Dangerous kick. Hunter underneath it. Was well weighted. Cleared nodding, and Hunter takes the mark at half back. Showing some poise in their back half, West Coast this afternoon. They haven't panicked, and they've managed to get back and block up the numbers in the space as Chambers spears towards half forward. Sampy and Jones collide. That freed up Shattuck. Dished it off to Corrie. can go for a run. Probably should have released to ground sooner. No damage done. He gives it to him now. Ackermanis on his own inside 50. Kerr tracking back to him now. Kick will go towards Sharman. Ackermanis lurking at the back of the contest. That's where it goes. West Coast will wake up to it. Judd taken by Carosella. Got hands free to Fletcher. Embley and Scott track it to the line. And out it goes. Daniel Chick was just a little sluggish to get back on Ackermanis there. Fortunately for West Coast, the ball took a while to come in. By the time it did, Anchor had a couple sitting on his shoulder.
Always dangerous pressing forward, goes to Ackermanis. But good tackle.
Cox the tap, it's straight down to Scott. Sharma to Copeland. Spills wide now to Boss. Off the left from 55.
You would suggest he's probably had a better kick than that. But it's the sort of day that Boss is having at the moment. But like any superstar, we see it with James Hird. You can't give him any space because he will fight his way back into a game of football.
It's been a flat first half for Michael Voss, just the 4 possessions. Daniel Chick has 7 playing on him as a direct opponent. Lynch, 23 seconds remaining on the clock. Long and high to the wing. Embley at the front of the contest. Good mark to Lappin. That massive bodies kept his eyes on it and took the mark. Time for one for Brisbane. Brad Scott, if it'll sit for him. Ackermanis approaches. Can link up with him. He does now. Ackermanis standing start from 50 and he sprays it out on the full as well. The West Coast pressure has been excellent this afternoon. Really have blocked up the space of the Brisbane Lions and given them little time. Having said that, Brisbane have done exactly the same to West Coast. They haven't had much time for their playmakers either. And at half-time, the West Coast Eagles have extended their 5-point quarter-time lead to 12 points. It's West Coast 6-4-40. The Lions 4-4-28. Back to analyse the first half right after this from Subiaco.
Sunday, the nation's capital in the spotlight as the Kangaroos and Swans go head-to-head at Monica Oval. The Swans are in front. A battle to do Howard and Latham proud. Kangaroos versus Sydney, Sunday on Fox Footy Channel.
Go Harvey Norman now for 17 months interest-free terms. No deposit, no interest, no repayments till 2005. What a deal. Buy now and pay absolutely nothing for 17 months. Electrical, computers and communications, furniture and bedding and bedroom furniture, bed linen and much more. 17 months interest-free terms. No deposit, no interest, no repayments till 2005. Minimum purchase $500. Condition, fees and charges apply. See store for details. 17 months interest-free now at Harvey Norman. Don't miss it.
Stop. At our school, the first thing we teach our students are simple words. Then we teach them about shapes.
House.
And finally, how to recognize different objects.
And we have
Whoops. It takes a lot of time and patience to teach our students. And it takes a lot of money. So please help our puppies graduate by donating to Guide Dogs Victoria. Every dollar helps them graduate.
7 seats, with a third row that folds flat under the floor for maximum cargo space. Advanced 172 kilowatt V6 VVT-I engine. Vehicle stability control. Traction control. Introducing the all-new Toyota Kluger all-wheel drive, the ultimate crossover. Where you take it is up to you.
Every week they meet. KB, Bobby, Tony, and Doug.
And there's another one.
4 old soldiers with yarns aplenty.
This is true.
Battles past, victory and loss. The mates, the champions, larger than life. They've hung up their boots. The legends live on.
Grumpy Old Men, Wednesday nights on Fox Footy Channel.
You know, they don't breed footballers like they used to.
Hi, I'm Matty Primus. I used to think beating the Crows was the most fun you could ever have. But being a guest on Living with Footballers is even better.
They're the chicks behind the big sticks. Living with Footballers, Thursday on Fox Footy Channel.
Here's something to shout about? Every Friday, an awesome half hour of footy for kids of every age.
Good day, I'm Dave. And I'm Frankie.
Oz Kicking Around.
Okay, here we go.
Learn your footy skills from your footy heroes. Get Oz Kicking Around with Bomber Matty Lloyd and Bulldog Brad Johnson and all your favourite players.
No, you cut me out a bit, boys. Can I say question again? You can run, but you can't hide.
Wall-to-wall AFL that's made just for you.
Well, there you go, kids.
The fun's on Fox Footy. Oz Kicking Around. Friday.
Not bad for a boy from Braybrook. It wasn't that easy. Matter of fact, it was pretty tough.
Hawkins with courage.
A lot of pain, sacrifice, and even heartbreak.
The most skillful player in the Bulldog side.
Would I do it all again? Of course I would. I just love footy.
Doug Hawkins, footy fan, part of the Fox Footy team.
Time at Subiaco, the West Coast Eagles 6-4-40, Brisbane 4-4-28. The home side leading by 12 points. Andrew McDougall, the only multiple goal scorer in the game, with 2. Chris Judd with 18 possessions leads Luke Powell with 15, Ackermanis and Hart with 12, Fletcher and Kerr with 11 apiece. Jason Bennett alongside Peter Wilson here at half-time. And Peter, it's not the scintillating, brilliant, free-flowing game of football that we maybe expected that it would be. But gee, it's a pretty entertaining and fascinating contest, more tactically than just brilliant goals and brilliant marks.
Yeah, it certainly has been, Jason. I think Lee Matthews did touch on it earlier in the day that that really was going to try and close things down, and we've seen some great matchups. Daniel Chick, we see here, booming that from 55 metres out, torpedo, but he's been playing on Voss and has done a fantastic job keeping him down to about 4 or 5 possessions for the day.
Daniel Chick with 7 possessions, as you mentioned, Michael Voss with just the 4. Leading away for the Eagles, Judd, Fletcher, Kerr, Embley have all had plenty of the football. Cousins just the 4 possessions for West Coast. When we look at Brisbane's had 4, Ackermanis with 12, Lappin 10, Black 9 and Voss 4. Not getting a lot either side really out of their superstar players, maybe with the exception of, say, Judd and Fletcher and Kerr.
That's certainly right, Jason. And where it's going to actually pan out here is the lesser lights of both sides. Of course, we did talk about Brisbane having a lot more experience, 20 premiership players out there running around, and the West Coast Eagles with none. So it really is going to be the lesser lights like this boy, Ashley Sampi, and someone like Phil Matera, who may stand up in the second half.
It's been a game of cameos, hasn't it? No one player has dominated the entire contest. Players have just stepped up and had an impact, as Nigel Lappin and Jason Ackermanis did here. Players just playing bit roles, just moving into the play, doing something special and then fading back out again.
Certainly has been, and I think that's the way it will continue.
Here's the top 10 disposals. As we mentioned, Judd, Power, Ackermanis, Hart, Fletcher, Kerr, Scott, Embley, Lappin and Black. So plenty of names there. But it is, as I mentioned, some of the absences. Cousins and Voss were just 4 possessions apiece. Probably more notable. Been nothing in the stats all afternoon, and again, almost literally nothing in them there.
And the clearance is now going the way of the Brisbane Lions. West Coast are doing a lot better. Centre clearance is now very even. Inside 50s, that's the important part. 27 to Brisbane. They're getting it forward a lot better. Only 18 to the West Coast Eagles.
Which is full credit to the West Coast defence, because they've stood up under enormous pressure as the Brisbane Lions get into the cool truck out the back of Subiaco here at half-time. Not overly warm conditions. It's probably about 22, 23 degrees, but it is reasonably humid today.
It certainly is. I don't think I've ever seen anybody herded up in the back of the truck at half-time before.
Just as long as a West Coast fan doesn't get the keys to that truck, they should be okay, the Brisbane Lions. Half-time here at Subiaco. Fascinating tactical arm wrestle. It's the West Coast Eagles leading by 12 points. We'll be back with more right after this.
Sunday, all eyes on Telstra Dome when the Woodsmen come a-hunting for the Dockers in a ding-dong battle for supremacy. Get your footy fix. Collingwood Fremantle Sunday on Fox Footy Channel.
Performance, precision handling and aerodynamic body, the Camry Sportiva is built for great roads.
No chance of catching a fish off the boat this week, eh, Jacko? What's that?
It's always the other guy that knows the score.
The other girl that gets the news first.
It's always the other couple that get the best table.
Be one of the others with sport, news, eat and drink, and much more on 3.
When the siren sounded and scores are tallied, how did your team shape up on the weekend?
Biggest winning margin to run out 60-point winners.
Fox Footy Channel's expert team has all the answers on the winners, where you'll see the brave, the bold,
Murray, what a start for his career for the Saints!
the bizarre,
Look, I don't care about the final.
and the brilliant.
Club's season spiralled into hopelessness.
The winners, Sunday night.
Celebrate footy's yesteryear with classic quarters, unforgettable marks, goals and inspirational highlights from a golden era in football.
How'd you like that for pressure?
27 minutes of the best footy. Classic quarters Tuesday nights on Fox Footy Channel.
Football is all about tradition, loyalty, and old rivalries. Before your team meets the opposition this weekend, relive their most recent encounter on The Last Time They Met, Thursdays and Fridays on Fox Footy Channel.
This season, get your tip. Right, like the kind of your mother. And your team lineup first. Find out who's in and who's out. You leaving, Bugsy? Shut up, Mort. One big happy family live every Thursday night. Have a look at yourself, son. No, you have a look at yourself. Excuse me? It's just an opinion, Mike.
You Steve John Barnes.
Thank you.
The well-spoken Mike Sheen. And the very lonely Geelong supporter in Edinburgh. Should make for a good season.
The ultimate preview of every round. Fox League teams, exclusive to Fox Footy Channel. Live Monday night, the team lineup an exclusive interview with new Bulldog star Jade Rawlings on the couch.
Rawlings goes for it. Goal!
Fresh from his first shootout with his old teammates in the MCG, the panel asked Rawlings why he left the Hawks. Jade Rawlings on the couch, live Monday on Fox Footy Channel.
He rolled his ankle in man-to-man against an 8-year-old today. So we'll wait and see how he pulls up. But he's certainly gone over in his ankle, but we don't know how bad it is until tomorrow. It's a bit of a freak that has happened, I think. I don't know if he was skylarking or not, but I assume it was just a real unlucky thing when doing clinics with 50 or 60 footballs around the place.
Don't expect any sympathy from John Worsfold. He's speaking of Glenn Jakovich, who stepped on a footy, we believe. We'll speak to the man right now, the West Coast champion, Glenn Jakovich. He's out of this game and he's down on the boundary with Lockie Reed.
Well, Jacko set the record straight for us. Did you roll your ankle competing against an 8-year-old?
Give me some justice, mate. It was a 10-year-old, so the 10-year-olds are quite tough these days. No, it was just a basic coaching clinic, school holidays over here, and there's a heap of footies in the goal square, and I was kicking them out, and I went to jump over a couple of footies, not wanting to land on a footy because that's the best way you're going to roll your ankle, and trying to prevent it. I ended up doing it, so it was a freak situation. At the time, didn't think there was a lot in it, but after about half an hour, she started to blow up a bit, and I thought I was in a bit of trouble. So freak thing, and it's very disappointing because I was just starting to feel good in my body, and got off to a fairly good start myself, and now got this little setback.
Before the boys talk about the game, how long are you out for?
Hopefully just the one. I mean, my recovery's responded really well to treatment, so it's only just 72 hours since I'd done it. Had it been like on a weekend, I probably might have got up to the game. So we're hopeful that during the week it comes up. The swelling's out of it, and we've got a bit of a short week in the sense that we're flying early, so I'm just not sure whether I'll have enough time, but I'll have to do a little bit on the training track to convince obviously the selectors and myself that I'm ready to go full tilt.
Glenn, Jason Bennett and Peter Wilson upstairs. Thanks for your time this afternoon. The ruck battle, we mentioned Michael Gardner's absence before the game. How have you seen the battle between Cox and Charman, and then I guess the undercard, which is young Mark Seavey up against McLaren?
Yeah, I think the boys have handled themselves very well. I mean, Mark Seavey's come on, and he's really had a bit of an impact in the sense he's hit a few bodies and got a few touches himself. So I think that's important. And Dean's improving. I think from week to week, he's now becoming a 50-60 game player. So he's at that stage where he does have to step up, and I think they've carried the workload very, very well this afternoon.
And young Beau Waters playing just his second game of football this afternoon. He's had 9 possessions. He looks a real player. Tell us a little bit about him.
Beau, he's a South Australian. He came over with bit of a tag, a John Worsfold mould type of a player, which, is a fantastic, compliment to have. But to his credit, he didn't really want to have that, bestowed upon him, because he's just a natural player that just goes about his football. He's a very good left footer, and he plays it very hard, and we've seen him in and under getting the footy out to obviously our midfield. So he's had a bit of a presence and an impact which has been very good for a second game player.
Now, Jack, you've never been known for jumping over large things, especially footballers on the ground. How big are these footballs getting?
Sorry, I missed that one.
Well, you've never been renowned for jumping over packs and taking great marks in the game of football. So how tall was the football, Jacko?
Willow, you know me, mate. I'm a clean player. I've always have been, mate. So there was a number of footies there, mate, and all I can say, I'm still just trying to convince myself of how it happened. It was just a freak thing, and mate, I rolled my ankle. What can I say?
Well, Glenn, thanks very much for your time this afternoon. Best of luck with that ankle. We hope to see you out there again for the West Coast Eagles in the not-too-distant future.
Thanks very much, boys.
Glenn Jakovich joining us half-time here at Subiaco. The Brisbane Lions trailing by 2 goals. It's West Coast 6-4-40. The West Coast Eagles 6-4-40, Brisbane 4-4-28. There's one other game of round 4 action on Around Australia this afternoon. It's at the MCG. Melbourne taking on Port Adelaide. Replay scheduled on various networks. Let's have a look at the scores. If you don't want to know them, look away now. More after the break here at Subiaco. It is half-time. It's West Coast leading 6-4 to 4-4. Back with the third term right after this.
He's worth every cent. Rawlings gets his third.
It was a Fox Footy TV thriller when the Western Bulldogs clashed with the West Coast Eagles in the opening round of the season.
Ashley Samby to win the game for the Eagles.
Now the Bulldogs are back to do it all again when they take on the high-flying Hawks, live and exclusive to Fox Footy Channel. Plus, sports active coverage exclusive to all Foxtel digital subscribers. Hawthorn versus Western Bulldogs, Sunday.
Go Harvey Norman now for 17 months interest-free terms. No deposit, no interest, no repayments till 2005. What a deal. Buy now and pay absolutely nothing for 17 months. Electrical, computers and communications, furniture and bedding and bedroom furniture, bed linen and much more. 17 months interest-free terms. No deposit, no interest, no repayments till 2005. Minimum purchase $500. Condition, fees and charges apply. See store for details. 17 months interest-free now at Harvey Norman. Don't miss it.
Performance, precision handling and aerodynamic body, the Camry Sportiva is built for great roads.
So 10 seconds left and the crowd go, Gibbo, 10, 9, I'm flying down the sideline, I'm flying down. And they're like, Gibbo,
Dewey's new. What mates do.
Join me in remembering a golden era from the Fox Footy Vault, the Stuckers legend. An era blessed with the spectacular.
A fantastic mark.
An era where tough men hit hard.
Oh, he got steamrolled there.
From the Fox Footy Vault with Ron Barassi.
Wednesday nights on Fox Footy Channel.
Hi, I'm Ozzie Jones from the Saints. If you think St Kilda has a good playing list, you should see the talent on the Living with Footballers panel. Great mix of youth and experience and easily the best looking goal-to-goal line I've seen in a long time.
Living with Footballers, Thursday on Fox Footy Channel.
Here's something to shout about. Every Friday, an awesome half-hour of footy for kids at every age.
Good day, I'm Dan. And I'm Frankie.
Oz Kicking Around.
Okay, here we go.
Learn your footy skills from your footy heroes. Get Oz Kicking Around with Bomber Matty Lloyd and Bulldog Brad Johnson and all your favourite players.
Now you've cut me out a bit, boys. Can't say question again. You can run, but you can't hide.
Wall-to-wall AFL that's made just for you.
Well, there you go, kids.
The fun's on Fox Footy. Oz Kicking Around. Friday.
I'm too old to play anymore. I've had my time and would live it again 1,000,000 times over if I could. But that doesn't mean I love the game any less now than I did then. It's just different. I still can't get enough of it, and I still talk about it in my sleep. But the thing is now, I can afford to laugh about it.
John Barnes, footy fan, part of the Fox footy team.
Half-time at Subiaco, the West Coast Eagles leading by 12 points, 6-4 to 4-4, in what has been a tough, low-scoring but very interesting contest. Well, we gave you the ultimate look-away before the break. Even when you look, you can't see the score. Here is the real deal, the real look-away. Melbourne versus Port Adelaide at the MCG. It is full-time replay scheduled on various networks, so if you don't want to know the score, look away now. Both sides back out on the ground to resume hostilities in this third term. As Michael Voss, just the 4 possessions, spent plenty of time at full forward, one out with Daniel Chick. Daniel Chick coming up with 7 possessions in the opening half. And Peter, we mentioned him as a player before the game. He just needed a lift, needed to find his niche in this side. I think it's a fair point. In the year and a bit that he's been at West Coast, hasn't really settled into one role within this side. Sometimes he's been midfield, sometimes he's been a half forward. This afternoon he's been given a job and he's handled himself well.
Certainly, Jason. Last year, of course, just started to show a little bit of form and had a bit of bad luck with a shoulder injury and really put him out for the remainder of the year and just couldn't get over that injury. But look, a very good athlete. I was having a discussion before the game with Tim Gossage, and he is a wrap for him in that particular area. Giving him a role like this really does set him out. Well, the All-Australian centre-half back really desperate to get out there and play a game of football.
He's not twisting and turning too well, though, is he, at the end of those run-throughs? He's injured his groin or upper thigh, we believe, in that first half as the Lions bring it in close.
Look, you can just see the amount of pressure he's got on that bandage under his shorts as well. You know, he's got to be pretty uncomfortable, and you'd have to say, is it worthwhile risking a player of his calibre that could, honestly, he could hurt this that bad when you're doing a groin or abductor strain. He could be out for 3 or 4 weeks. He really should be just ripping that bandage off and sitting it on and taking in the viewing for the day.
Brisbane lost Daniel Bradshaw in the warm-up. Came off the ground 1 second after the opening siren. So he takes no part in the game. We believe he has a back injury. And then, of course, to lose Justin Lepich with a groin as well has depleted the Brisbane Lions down to 20 men this afternoon. It's a big job for them. West Coast are applying themselves very, very well. They lead by 12 points at half-time. That man, Ben Cousins, just the 4 touches for him so far in the game.
Like Michael Voss, absolute class footballer, Ben Cousins. He'll work his way back into the game. Been a great battle so far today in the ruck as well. Jarman will go up against Dean Cox in the opening stanza. And of course, really the West Coast need to lift up their rating out of the centre square if they are going to get over this fantastic side of the Brisbane Lions.
12 points the margin.
All the matchups staying the same way.
Set to go, third term at Subiaco. West Coast 6-4-40, Brisbane 4-4-28. More than 39,500 fans on hand, and they're seeing a gripping contest. Embley, first possession of the third term. Black barely travelled the 15 metres. Mark Pade plays on towards half forward. Brownie's target, and he takes the mark, 65 from home. Had a couple of runners, decided to go back himself and spears it inside 50. Some loose checking there from the West Coast Eagles. And Tim Notting with the opportunity from 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle to draw first blood in this third term.
It's the first time we've really seen that in this match. 2 Brisbane players in Notting and Scott really having plenty of room and the opportunity there for Brown to take his pick.
3 goals for the season, Tim Notting. Just inside 50. Tries to bend it back, but as we've seen a couple of times, kicks fading away to the right-hand side at that end this afternoon. Up against the behind post for a throw-in.
But it's at the right end of the ground for the Brisbane Lions. Fantastic crowd in. Give to Voss. Hasn't had much room to move. From 45, he twists and turns, kicks back to the goal square. Punter and McRae. McRae worked hard to get front spot. Now he roved his own ball. Quick kick off the boot. It's the face.
It was a hard work again from the Brisbane Lions players. And that time it was Black who gave Michael Voss the opportunity to get free, just blocking the path of Daniel Chick and giving Voss the opportunity to get that football.
Punter, nonchalantly off a step, kicks about 60 metres to a pack. Just a new part of AFL. Distance some of these players are getting on their kicks, Tim, is just absolutely fantastic. It really looked like a short pass for Little Punter. Been a good contest between these two ruckmen. Strong tackle on Black by Kerr. Kerr has gained the honours in that contest today. 11 possessions. Simon Black with the 10. Not too many clean ones. Still 60 metres out from Brisbane's goal. Here's Fletcher. The give to Lynch. Loves to kick it long and straight. Sampi ricochets off his chest. Here's it McGrath. Judd. Brilliant. Gather. Embley was doubling back. Ball favours Scott. Quick kick. Open space. Brown and Lynch. Brown has 5 metres on his opponent. Allowed to wheel around, straighten things up, spots a man up. Sharman did well. Sharman could go over the top by hand. He does to Ackermanis from 35 out. They're closing down on him, but Ackermanis is equal to the task. Brisbane coming back strong. Early term, third quarter.
Chalmers, he really has been very, very good in this ruck duel. There's been more than halving it, I think, with Glenn Cox in the middle or Seavey, but he's just working so much better forward and giving the opportunity to his teammates to use him in the forward half, which he's continued to do. He's working overtime. Again, just an opportunity for him to grab hold of a position within the side with some of the leader ruckmen sitting on the sidelines.
Margin back to 5 points. Cox and Sharman. Fletcher. Hart. And now Power. Flips it wide to Sharman. Another possession for the big man. Scrappy football at the moment. Cox. Now to Jones. What can West Coast build through Fletcher? Off the right boot. It was an ugly kick. He picked out Power. Now a chance for Brisbane. Lappin's got some space. Brown will lead towards the 50. Ackermanis down there as well. Lappin looks further afield. Took a little too long as it turned out. Hunter came across, did the 1% and made the chase and smothered it to the line.
Got him right in the face, I reckon, Adam Hunter. That hit him right in the noggin.
Did it well though. Didn't know to commit him. It just went up there and caged his player, giving him the opportunity to spoil the football. It was good work.
Cox and Brown to the front of the contest. Lappin and Jones, a holding decision. It's coming back to West Coast. Crowd were outraged and then delighted.
See, they heard it.
Cousins. Half-back flank. Just his 5th touch this afternoon. Void of options, so he goes short and finds Fletcher. Another one short down the line. The feet of Cox. Boots a ball, across his body. Judd tries to burst through a couple of tackles, going nowhere through Copeland and Black. Scrum develops, ball up. Not a lot of free-flowing football this afternoon. It has been a real gritty affair.
The challenge, I think the challenge is going to be who's going to hold this style of play all the way through. It's so much against the grain the way the Eagles have been playing so far this year.
Black. Deft little tap from Scott into the path of Ackermanis. Just flips it around his body as casual as you like and finds Jonathan Brown. Got Pike inside 50. We'll go to that contest, one-on-one. Carroll in front, got the double fist. Picked off by Punter at the back. Twisting and turning, McRae runs him down. He now uses his support in Carroll. He heads boundary side. Digs his head and delivers it to Quinton Lynch.
Lynch looks up, has Staker running hard for him on the lead. That's the direction the kick takes. Sampy's second in line. Good mark. And there's that vertical leap we spoke about. Peter Wilson, good grab. Looks up, has runners inside. One being CB. Charman striding down, but CB marks from 50. CB looks up. Left foot. Gangley looking effort, but it's accurate. First in league footy. Mark CB.
Just going for the big ball, and Clinton loves to kick the football long. He would have punished that football, I think, at close to 65 metres down the line, and with pinpoint accuracy. I think he was looking for CB all the time, for Sampy, I should say, all the time. But big CB, he'd be loving that. There's nothing like joining the big time and finishing it off with a 6-pointer.
She did it well, didn't he? He moved well. It was a very well-balanced mark under pressure, and then just wheeled around onto the left boot and drilled it home from just inside 50.
Needs a bit of work, though, I think, on the celebration side of things. Maybe you should give...
Oh, that's coming from you.
Exactly, love it. Ackermanis needs to give him a phone call, give him a hand.
Disappointed that he couldn't pull out a cartwheel for his first goal.
Yeah, you never enjoyment.
You never overcooked it in your day, did you? You're kidding.
CB and Charman. Off hands to Power. Now Charman again. Out to Hart. Brisbane to respond inside 50. Voss comes thundering out. It spills to the foot of the pack. Nodding. Paddles it in front of him. Got Carroll to beat. Goes to ground. Now he's in trouble. Dropped the ball. Holding the ball. West Coast get away again. Carroll. Cousins and Hart. Awkward. Cousins kept his feet. Stayed in the contest and ultimately won the football. To the wing. Set Staker a task. And he did it well. Outsized Anthony Corrie.
Very lucky.
Used it to his advantage. Embley streaming inside 50. Goes to him. It was a beautifully weighted kick. But again we see the value of keeping your feet. McGrath spears to Black, and Brisbane can build from centre half back. Wide to Copeland. Look out, Matera. Under some pressure, but ultimately Johnson with numbers to Pike. And now Copeland, as they work it around the outer side, he can go forward to Notting. And now it's a wide open 50. Just Michael Voss and Daniel Chick inside it. Voss hasn't led yet. Stands at the top of the goal square. Now to the pocket. Brown's gone in to fill the space. Lynch got fist to ball. Voss taken down by his shadow Chick. Spills to McRae. He roves the pack and bounces through for a behind. 1-3 to Craig McRae. West Coast just seeming to have the answers down back.
Daniel Chick, though, who really was like chasing a tennis ball, wasn't he? Just had his eyes for Voss, and there, what a great tackle.
Plunder, this is the little sock movement back in the goal square, the half pull up the sock.
What does that mean, Tim?
I reckon he'll let go.
Just that his socks are down.
He'll let go with a big one. So he goes short. I've misread the signal.
Thought it might have been the socks down.
Yeah, that was a good solid 25 metres.
Braun, he knew what was going on. There's Embley. It's all in the socks. There it is. Staker, middle of the ground. Possession 3 off the boot of Rapunda. That was the plan. Cousins kicks to open space.
I'll pull up the sock trick. It's the second time you've fallen for it this month.
And put your shoes back on when you use the phone.
Throwing it right half forward. Margin back to 10 points. Brisbane get it within a goal, but the Eagles often responding. McGrath, second effort. Beaten for it. Taken by Judd. Has a bounce. Looks up. Spearing past Matera.
But Jarman, he was after Judd. And Judd, I think, had his eyes on the goal there, thinking about taking him on. The big man covers the ground very, very well. The little ant made himself available. Oh, what a lovely pass. Only problem with that, of course, was the laces the wrong way.
Already kicked a goal. Late in that second quarter. The Eagles a couple of goals in front. A goal here will match their biggest lead. 16 points if Philip Matera can steer this one through. Just inside 50. Goal umpire does not move. Handy break now for the home team.
Well, Ben Cousins again helping the football coming up from the back half. Has been hanging on to the football a little bit long, I think. On times he could have given the football off. He had Trent Carroll on the outside on one occasion, but it has come off for the West Coast boys. There's a football gone right into the defensive 50 with Chris Judd, the superstar, the man with the pace, using the football beautifully for his little forward pocket player.
So the West Coast Eagles back out to a 16-point break. It's the equal largest in the game. They held that advantage midway through the opening term as well. And the gauntlet being thrown down to the Brisbane Lions. They're down to 20 men. Lappin tried to get it forward. Again, the wall stands up for West Coast. Kerr taken down. It's built to Hart. Inside 50. Brown takes it on the chest. You can go back from 45 metres out, all but directly in front.
It's going to be hard for anybody to take on Jonathan Brown in that one-on-one instance with a quick ball in. Makes it very easy for this big man. Mitch hasn't done a bad job, especially in the first half. He just needs to have hand on this guy all the time. You can't give him a metre. He's just too strong.
Hasn't been his dominant self today, Jonathan Brown, but the numbers are still pretty impressive. 10 possessions, 7 marks, and he's taken the ball inside 57 occasions. A chance now to go back and kick his second goal. Looms as a major factor in this second half. Jonathan Brown. Deliberate approach. Teammates clap it through, and the Lions respond. Jonathan Brown gets his second. Steely-faced Lee Matthews watches on as the margin reduces to 10 points.
Really has been the difference of the two sides. McDougall's had 2 posters, 2 opportunities to help the side forward in the first half. Jonathan Brown, every time he gets the football, just very rarely misses. And he slots that through. 11 possessions and 2 straight.
The Lions respond, the margin back to 10 points. A couple of goals apiece in this quarter. Seavey rode by Cousins. Shannock was held by the arm. Didn't get a free kick. The ball up 60 metres out.
Have really let it go, the umpires again. Going back to what they've done in the first quarter, Brisbane Lions, Pagan's paddock, Voss the only one inside the 50.
Charman didn't get it right the first time, smacked it down the second, taken by Corrie to Copeland. Here is this open forward line. Brown leads Lynch, the big boys. Sockers to himself, spinning on an end. Well done, Brown, got away. Good tackle from Atkins. Inside 50. Chick, happy to see it over.
A very disciplined performance. Jonathan Brown really starting to get on top now. The centre half forward. They're giving him all the space he requires too, and I think he's just covering the ground a little bit better than Quinton Lynch.
Brought the ball inside 50 8 times now, which means he's a long way from goal. Lynch is probably happy to sacrifice that. Black wants left side, runs almost a 360. Ordinary effort off the boot. Did the hard work to get away from the outstretched arms of Daniel Kerr. Brisbane keep coming. Margin down to 9 points. 15 minutes gone. And Simon Black. 12 possessions. 5 clearances.
We're punted with the kick in. That's what he's got in front of him. Brisbane playing a heavy zone. This time he decides to roll out the barrel.
Oh, the socks!
To the roar of the crowd. Off the hands of the contest, it spills to Notting. Through traffic, spears it inside 50. Brisbane had zoned up. And of course, when the direct turnover comes, invariably in that situation, we're left with forwards standing alone inside 50, and it ends up with Craig McRae.
Well, as soon as there is a rebound on for the Brisbane Lions, they all stream and make themselves available. And really, a non-percentage play kicking that bomb out, Jim. So I don't think he needs to pick his socks up.
The crowd love it, don't they? They love to roar it. It's good old-fashioned footy, just bang it long down the middle, but we see why it doesn't happen so much in modern football right there. It's too easy to pick off. McRae makes them pay. The margin back to just 3 points.
There's got to be a reason why he does it. Surely that would be in the match plan. I mean, he's not going against the grain. They've had trouble getting it outside their 50, so he said, well, let's try something different.
Yeah, it's him. if that's the case, it's a desperate play because they really have struggled in that area, but it's a non-percentage. You're playing 50-50 as soon as that ball hits the air. They're better off keeping possession. Port Adelaide do it. You've seen the Brisbane Lions do it so far today, and they've been a lot more, I think, attacking when they've just held possession.
Margin back to 3 points. Brisbane are coming. Goals to Brown and McRae. Sharman getting on top in the middle of the ground. Hunter. Chain of hand passes, ends with Adkins. Spearing past the half-foot. Staker's been okay, hit it full-chested. Look away, hand pass wasn't great.
The difference between the two sides at the moment really is the performances of the two centre-half forwards. Staker was good in the first half, just needs to lift his rating here.
14 scoring shots to 12. The Eagles lead. Now Charman has just thumped that back to the boundary line. Could have almost taken possession. Got away from Seaby. Charman comes off, McLaren on. And goes straight into this contest. It's been good, Charman. It's been an intriguing battle with he and Cox and Seaby. The young four ruckman, of course, Bo McDonald gone for the year. Gardner gone for the next 6 weeks. Back slapped by McLaren to Lappin. Black kick possession on the boundary line. Pike holding a basketball style. Good enough. Up and under. Needs some courage under that. 4 players show it. Nothing interesting. Brilliant McLaren. Took his time to Corrie. Hand pass not so good. Carousella would have been away. Can he get it out and eke it out? He can to McRae. They're going backwards to go forwards. Here's Corrie. Wants to step inside 50. A goal here and Brisbane will be in front. He's missed. They're coming and they're coming hard, Peter Wilson.
Yeah, really have had the flow of the football in the last 5 minutes, the Brisbane Lions. And hopefully it's not a situation where they'll blow a game open because they are renowned for this. Once they start getting their confidence up, the Brisbane boys, they are just awesome to watch.
Lynch with the kick out this time. As you can see what option he elects. The thing about the spiral is when it works it's brilliant, when it doesn't work it's very risky and it invariably ends in a goal. Lynch thumps it long. It's exactly the same spot where a punter kicked it last time, but this time, as I say, when it works it looks brilliant. It was Fletcher who rode the crumb this time and delivered it to Staker. So West Coast rolled the dice again, and this time it came up trumps for them. Squares it up to Fletcher. He'll go inside 50. McDougall out on the lead. Michael by his shoulder. McDougall couldn't quite reel it in. Won it at ground level. Michael in over the top of it. Johnson trying to emerge from congestion. Matera, Adkins not getting through there. Ball up. 55 out from the West Coast goal. They lead by 2 points as we approach time on in the third term.
Just looking for a gap between the two Brisbane Lion players. Atkins in that occasion, they closed it up and closed it up hard.
McLaren and Seaby. Seaby the tap inside 50. Sampi trying to work McGrath off the ball. Little toe poke. Awkward bounce for Carroll. Did his best to smother it. Then takes Pike down with an effective tackle. Adkins sweeps in from 55 on the left. Awkward kick to the pocket. Matera lurking at the back. Out of bounds on the full. And Brisbane now with a chance to set up from the last line of defence. It's been a real arm wrestle this afternoon. Brisbane wanted that coming into this game.
He's been struggling, Staker, since that last strong contested mark. He's feeling all the effects.
Long bomb to the outer side. Ackermanis flies over the top. Couldn't bring it down through the legs of Chambers. Judd. Boundary line wins again, as it has so many times this afternoon.
It's a fair fly, wasn't it?
Throw in. McLaren pats it to the front of the contest. Lappin runs onto it. Boot to ball. Carroll in best position. Dropped what he could have taken. Opens it up for Brown, who was very slow. Lynch wrapped him up. Judd, ferocious tackle from Copeland was a beauty. Notting. Now to Black. Awkward kick off his non-preferred side. Voss comes thundering out again. Chick worked him off it. Power to Ackermanis. Great pressure from West Coast. Brisbane determined. West Coast standing up and did well. Carroll. Long ball towards the wing. And Seaby has it. Inboard to Fletcher. And he'll kick to centre half forward. McDougall comes out. They'll contest at 50. Flying over the top was Copeland. Sampi almost swooped. McDougall from 55. Back to Matera on the goal line. Well, that's a big psychological win for the West Coast Eagles because they were backpedaling at 1,000 miles an hour as Brisbane were going forward. They managed to scrap, turn around possession, get it forward themselves, and Phil Matera should goal.
Really just got to look at the strength of the West Coast Eagles tackling in their back half there. That brought this opportunity for Phil Matera to whack it through for 6 points for the West Coast Eagles. But as a coach, everyone would be happy to sit back there and watch them tackle so hard in the back half.
3 goals for Phil Matera, 2 in this term. And again, West Coast standing up to the barrage. Sampi almost swooped there. And McDougall again providing a contest at centre-half forward. And Phil Matera has had a reasonably quiet day with just 7 possessions, but as we've said so many times in the past, doesn't need many to cut you up.
Couple of goals to Philip Matera in this term, 3 for the game. And again, a handy 8-point lead in a low-scoring contest. Seaby's been good since coming back onto the ground. Hart out of the centre. Brown got pushed in the back and should get a free kick and does. Again, Voss, 1 out. He'll go to Ackermanis by hand. Ackermanis kicks to the front of the square, check. Ball spills to the front. Wapunda. Little 1-2 with Embley. And the Eagles have lifted their rating since Brisbane laid down the gauntlet. And Wapunda has been good, providing plenty of rebound down the line. Good mark under pressure from Morrison, posed to Corey. Brisbane getting back. McDougall trying to get away from Michael for the lead. Matera to the pocket, still nothing doing. There's Matera, that's a long lead. He's about 80 metres out from goal. Chip over the top, Embley. Good effort. He led once, back inside 50. Provided the second option.
Good football by Chad Morrison. There's some rules going into the forward 50s. You just hold until something becomes available. It's no good just delivering the football when there's nothing on. And Johnson just fell off Matera after his first lead, jogged through and just lifted into a second lead and found his little man. Good work.
Sun pokes out for the first time. Embley goes for his first goal with his 12th kick. It's bending. Inside the post. Right on the line. It's through. Goal to the West Coast. They break away again. 14 points the margin. Every time Brisbane come at them, they respond.
And the midfield continues to change. Chris Judd coming off for another spell. Atkins, who's been good again today, comes back on for the West Coast Eagles. But nice delivery into the forward line. Again, well set up by Chad Morrison going into Phil Matera. Simple pass to Andrew Embley, who's finished it off with a nice long raking kick.
This is not a style of football we've associated with the West Coast Eagles. It's been quite static, not a lot of free-flowing open play. They've conceded 60 goals in their first 3 games this season. Conceded just 7 this afternoon. And here's Embley again on the charge to 55. Attacks the goal face. It's got plenty of distance on the kick. Just misses to the right-hand side. West Coast making a move. It's out to 15 points as Voss comes off, replaced by Charman. Michael Voss, 6 possessions.
Just wait for the quick change. Adam Hunter will come over onto Charman. And the Chick's moved himself. Good work.
McGrath has it in the back pocket. Thumps it long towards the wing. McLaren and Stake at the tall timber. We're a punter from the side. At ground level now, McRae. Boot to ball, gets it going forward. Charman on the bounce. Turns. Beautiful kick into the path of Lappin to run onto, but coming the other way was Chick. Lappin did well. Play opens up. Brown didn't gather cleanly the first time. It's still their numbers. Nodding. 15 out. Goals. Tim Notting gets his first. Again, the Lions respond. The margin back to 9 points. And that was all set up by the great vision of Jamie Charman. And Daniel Chick copped a corky as he thundered into Jonathan Brown. He is hobbling towards the bench. And we'll see it just there. Crunch. And Daniel Chick very proppy. The man he's been guarding all afternoon, Michael Voss, already off the ground. That's a bit of a loss for the West Coast Eagles because he's been important.
Watch that change. That'll happen straight away.
blow for the West Coast Eagles. Daniel Chick, a cork thigh in that contest. Voss is already off the ground. Brisbane just keep on coming, but the Eagles are standing firm. Off one step, Hart to half forward. Brown up with the flight. Ball spills to Pike. He could have gone. Notting was running on. Power looks up, kicks to the front of the goal square. Brisbane have numbers. They fly. No mark. Lynch did well. Chambers, too much on the kick, too much for Hunter. Spills to Simon Black. He strolls in. A couple in a minute. Here come the Lions again.
They just have an amazing ability to punish just the slightest mistake, don't they, Peter? You open the door for them and they kick it wide open.
Yeah, a panic kick too by Callum Chambers. Should have done a lot better with that football. But this is the class of this side. Every opportunity you're going to give them. They haven't been good today. But give them one opportunity, they'll take it. Give them two, they'll take that as well. It just continues. The Moss will gather no rolling stones or whatever it's like. They just keep coming. Yeah, no, thanks.
West Coast by 3 points. Back in the middle. Brisbane responding with a couple of goals in a minute. They come again through Hart. Now to Black. His champion side responding. Ackermanis inside 50. Tackled in mid-air. Spills to Carroll. Eagles defence under pressure. But now they're a chance to set up around the outer side. Here's Cox. Links up with Chris Judd for his 21st touch. Looks up. Goes long to half forward. Adkins will arrive late. And at ground level, this ball's up for grabs. It's Corrie who gets it. Steps inside Judd. Sampi lunges. Corrie releases to McGrath. McGrath from 70 metres out. Spears to Ackermanis. Got it this time. And Jason Ackermanis, 45 metres out. Tight angle. Can go back amazingly to give the Brisbane Lions the lead after West Coast had skipped out to a 15-point margin 4 minutes ago.
Of course, I meant to say that the Rollins don't go, there's no Moss. Thank you for that, Jason. What I was trying to say is these boys, once they get moving, there's nothing stopping Brisbane.
Ackermanis. Kicked into the man on the mark. Gathers himself. Wants to do it the hard way. Across the face of goal, and Cox takes the relieving mark. Don't the Subiaco crowd love that? There's Daniel Chick, still looking croppy. As Cox thumps it outside defensive 50. Charman will arrive late. Big, strong mark. Absolutely flattened Blake Carosella in the process. He now dishes off to Corrie. Steps around Embley. Runs to 55. Goes back to the pocket. Nacker will have another go.
He's got the wood over Chambers here. Brisbane would be happy with this matchup.
They wouldn't be happy with that. Carosella got thundered into by Jamie Charman, who's just going to come across into the right of screen now and apologise. A little consolation to Blake Carosella, who's still sucking in breath and got a jumper full of ribs.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough for him to come back after that too, because he's a big man and that has got to hurt.
Knee right between the shoulder blades as Jason Ackermanis will come in and have his set shot to give Brisbane the lead. On its way, tries to work it back. And they are calling for the stretcher, Brisbane. Blake Carosella is in some trouble here. And the mobile stretcher is out onto the ground, so there will be a delay in play. That behind to Jason Ackermanis, reducing the margin to 3 points. There's Lee Matthews on the phone. And it really was the full force of Jamie Charman's knee right between the shoulder blades, high up on the back. And Blake Carosella, as we look at it from another angle, he's a big man, Jamie Charman. Had some real pace up, had to sit on that pack. And he thundered in at full throttle.
Just dropping like shoulders, rolling pins at the moment, these boys. Daniel Chick just hobbling around the side there.
Could well be the shoulder, Tim. As we said, he got him right between the shoulder blades.
The AC joint, I think, doesn't look too happy by Carosella. Daniel Chick hobbling along.
The mobile stretcher drives off. They carry the stretcher off as Blake Carosella walks to the boundary line. And so Brisbane now down to 19 fit men. They have no Daniel Bradshaw. who took no part in this game at all, injured himself in the warm-up. They lost Justin Lippage with a groin injury in the first half. And now there's sick and sorry looking Blake Caracella. Well, West Coast count the damage as well. Trotting along the boundary line is Daniel Chick. He looks frustrated and angry. He's got a corky. And he's heading back to the dugout. We might have seen the end of him for the day as well. Play restarts through David Wirrapunda.
The long kick. The scene of the crime. Blake Caracella. Corey, he'll be exciting. He'll get Brisbane fans going when they get back to the gather. He's been good. Here's Sean Hart to the front of the goal square. Acker's going to have another crack. Waters got problems, got serious problems. The umpire says no. Yes, Sean Hart in the foreground saying, why not? He had possession. Brisbane players were camped over the top of him. They wanted holding the ball. Would have been a brave umpire on the top of the goal square. Swatted out. Now, Eagles have numbers. Here's Lynch. Ooh, wayward kick off the side of the boot. Here's Notting. Time ticks down inside the minutes. 2 points to margin. There's the battle of the walking wounded. By Rosebery says to Notting to get the ball on. From 60 metres out. They need a mark in the goal square. Eagles need to spoil. Front spot mark! And a big mark it is too. Taken by McLaren. And Dylan McLaren can go back and put Brisbane in front for the first time in the second time in the game. The first time, of course, early in the second quarter when Scott kicked a goal.
Two big fellows for the West Coast Eagles at the moment. With Quinton Lynch playing at centre half. Back also struggling.
So Brisbane will go into the final quarter in front. A goal from McLaren. And they lead by 4 points.
A timely first goal in league football for Dylan McLaren. And that's Jeet the Brisbane Lions up. Their body language is good. They've got together as a huddle. They're congratulating each other. And we are set for a cracking final term at Subiaco. Do not go away. The Lions by 4 points at three-quarter time.
Hang on to your hats. Adelaide's got the welcome mat out for St Kilda, and it's BYO, your best.
Crows are back in front.
The Crows and the Saints.
Here come the Saints.
Tonight on Fox Footy Channel.
7 seats, with a third row that falls flat under the floor for maximum cargo space. Advanced 172 kilowatt V6 VVT-I engine. Vehicle stability control. Traction control. Introducing the all-new Toyota Kluger all-wheel drive, the ultimate crossover. Where you take it is up to you.
Here comes that feeling again, and it ain't right. That lonely feeling that came to me last night. Alone in my room, I remember where you've been. Here comes that lonely.
Need help with colour? Visit 603010.com.au.
Nothing like a few days on a boat, eh, boys?
Oh, well done, Marlon.
Marlon? Why Marlon? Buckle up. Buckle up.
This is better than the real thing.
Have that a goal, guys?
Get the dog to get you one.
When the sirens sounded and scores are tallied, how did your team shape up on the weekend? Fox Footy Channel's expert crew has all the answers on the winners. The winners, 7:30 Sunday night.
Celebrate footy's yesteryear with classic quarters. Unforgettable marks, goals and inspirational highlights from a golden era in football.
How'd you like that for pressure?
27 minutes of the best footy.
Fairy tales do come true.
Classic quarters Tuesday nights on Fox Footy Channel.
This season, get your tip. What? Right behind your mother. And your team lineups first. Find out who's in and who's out.
You leaving, Bugsy? Shut up, Mort.
One big happy family live every Thursday night.
Have a look at yourself, son.
No, you have a look at yourself.
Excuse me? It's just an opinion, Mike. You esteemed John Barnes. Thank you. The well-spoken Mike Sheen. And the very lonely Geelong supporter in Edinburgh. That should make for a good season.
The ultimate preview of every round. Fox League teams, exclusive to Fox Footy Channel. Winners with flares ran, jumped and danced, and they did it all in style.
Well, the magic is back in the Harbour City.
Winners with flares, Thursday night on Fox Footy Channel. Live Monday night, the team line up an exclusive interview with new Bulldog star Jade Rawlings on the couch.
Rawlings goes for it. Goal!
Fresh from his first shootout with his old teammates in the MCG, the panel asked Rawlings why he left the Hawks. Jade Rawlings on the couch, live Monday on Fox Footy Channel.
Tough day at the office for both these sides. 24 degrees. Temperature hasn't been spoken about too much of a factor, but a couple of Brisbane players looking a little distressed at three-quarter time. We know they're down to 19 fit men as it is, but somehow they gutted it out in that third term, and they kicked 6 goals to 4 to take a 4-point lead to the final change. As we have a look at the numbers, look across those inside 50s at the bottom, that's the glaring difference, that and the clearances. And we are poised for a fantastic final term. As I mentioned, Brisbane with 19 fit men, no Bradshaw, no Leppich, Carousella off with some sort of shoulder or AC joint injury. And then at three-quarter time, Shaun Hart looking a little bit distressed in the huddle as well, which should possibly bring them down to 18 fit men to gut out this final term. As I mentioned, they lead by 4 points and they just keep on keeping on. But it's poised for a thrilling finish.
Aaron Shattuck also in the middle of his teammates getting some strapping on, looks like a hamstring as well. So almost like a war zone when it comes to the lineup for the Brisbane Lions at the moment. If they do win this game of football, it would have to go down as a very gutsy win.
One other game of round 4 action on this afternoon has been run and won at the MCG. Melbourne taking on Port Adelaide. Replay scheduled on various networks, so if you don't want to know the score, look away now. West Coast break from the huddle. Brisbane already filing out to take position. They lead by 4 points as we head boundary side. Here's Lockie Reid.
Well, Jason, it is devastating news for Brisbane. They are down to 1 man. Justin Leppich, of course, is sitting here. Daniel Bradshaw hasn't returned from not starting the game at all. And, of course, Blake Carousella has been taken to the rooms. The Lions have confirmed it is a shoulder injury. They've taken the ice, they've strapped him up, and he won't take any part in the game. I'm just looking over to the West Coast Eagles now and looking for Daniel Chick, who was also struggling, had a bad corky. He's had the thigh all strapped up, but I would wonder whether he'll come back on the ground.
Michael Voss going back to full forward. There's Justin Leppich, all strapped up. Craig McRae, the one man who is sitting on the bench for Brisbane. Their only fit replacement as we get set for what should be a very revealing final term here at Subiaco. 4-point margin in favour of the reigning champions, Copeland and Judd. Some new acquaintances as we start the final term. Crunch game for West Coast. Cox and Sharman. Cousins out of the middle. Wants to lift his side. Chance for Notting. Opens up a path. He can run to 50 and attack the goal face. He's pushed it out to the right-hand side. And an early opportunity goes begging for Brisbane. It was too easy coming out of the centre for them on that occasion. Ben Cousins, 9 possessions for him. Michael Voss, his opposing skipper, with just the 6 touches. The game is poised for some individual brilliance to carry one of these sides over the line as Punter goes to the back pocket and finds Trent Carroll. Daniel Chick wandering around the boundary line, trying to get himself right. Get back into this contest because he has done a fantastic job on Michael Voss this afternoon. Sharman flew over the top, fisted it to the line. They'll have a throw in.
Hawthorn play Brisbane next week, and I reckon there's a free kick off the ball. It's going to go against Sharman. He's going to go to Kerr.
He's getting a little confident, Sharman, but he just pushed Kerr over. Nothing really in it.
Or Punda. Judd. There's Hawthorn travel to the Gabba next week to take on Brisbane. Have got some problems injury-wise. Staker on the lead. Fine young player. Strong mark. Defence was there. Absolutely nothing in that. Down the line. Corrie back. Well done. Matera slipped in. Took the mark. Eagles fans in full voice. Phil Matera.
Well, probably not the most clever thing to do with a little man coming at you. It's only the height. Yeah. It's only the height. I mean, honestly, if Phil was 6 foot, there wouldn't have been a problem.
His head rocked back and he got him on the back of the neck. It doesn't quite work out that way. Threw his head back and the force of the blow, you would have thought his head would have gone forward, Peter. Here is Philip Matera. It's gone narrow. One of the best in the business, Phil Matera, for milking them best he can. Still trailed by 4 points.
Well, that's what you were trying to say. I was trying to work it out. He's not an actor. He did go to Johnny Young Talent Time for a couple of weeks.
3-3 to Phil Matera this afternoon. McGrath with a kick in. Goes to himself. Eagle tries to run him down, put some pressure on. Sharman and Copeland. Sharman just ran a screen for Copeland there and he took the mark. It's about squaring it up to Mel Michael. Might be a dangerous option though. So Fletcher just hanging off him. In the end, no one on the mark, so Copeland trots forward. Puts the boot into it towards half forward. Pike and Brown there. Brown worked his way to the front. Strong effort. Not paid. Play on. Lappin now. Wide open again. Bad signs for West Coast. Lappin from 55 can attack the goal square and misses. That's twice in this quarter we've seen Brisbane players trot across the 50 with no West Coast player anywhere near them. Fortunately for the Eagles, both kicks went astray.
Well, we spoke about this earlier because the Eagles haven't been playing this close checking game of football, and if they're going to stay in this game they need to hang on to the style for 4 quarters.
A real mental challenge for both sides in this final term. Brisbane have to keep driving themselves. They're down on numbers. West Coast have to stick to the discipline that's got them this far. Fletcher, handball to Braun. Now Cousins trying to get something going. Copeland takes him down. Cousins flips it out. We'll have a throw in. 5 points the margin. It took over 4 minutes in this final term. Again, a lull in the crowd, just waiting for something to happen. Cox to the front, was looking for Judd. Copeland happily takes it back to the line.
Oh, yeah, a bit of treatment. Copeland likes it tough.
Throw in. Charm a little backhand. A Black ran onto it. Just outside 50, goes to the pocket and pitch in front of Voss, hunting his new opponent with Chick off the ground. Hunter did well, has got the sanctuary of the boundary line and uses it. And yet another throw in. 39th throw in for the day this afternoon. Amazing numbers as both sides have hugged the boundary line for much of the day.
Brisbane did most of the attacking in the last 5 minutes of that third quarter, and they're doing the same in this last term. Charman over the top. Cox did well. Won it down to Cousins. They're backpedaling. Morrison to Lynch. Has to be quick. Lynch gone. Hand pass hit the umpire. Comes to Black. Little hand pass to Hart. A little gift to Power. Kerr over the top. Voss under pressure. Ball shoots out. Get it out of there. The Eagles try. Embley goes to ground under a strong tackle. Frenetic stuff there. Look at the throw in.
The Benny Hill music.
It certainly was a bit like Jason. The football just flying around. Some of the tackles good though. The umpire probably the only one to take a clean possession.
Cox wins it down. Black, he's lifted his rating. Here's Voss. Quick kick around the corner. Intercepted by Judd. They clear it out of defensive 50. Notting hit the ball full face. Did well. Strong tackle on him by Wapunda. Ball squeaked out, it's in the back. Should be a free kick to Brisbane and will be. The Eagles are away. It'll go back to Scott.
Crowd not happy with that decision.
Fancy that. If that's not in the back, on the rear. 50 from 50, kicks to the goal square. McLaren was important late. Well done, Carroll fisted it through. They are under enormous pressure. It's a goal of the lead, Michael Voss. He's bleeding. The umpire for a free kick, he reckons he was held by Hunter under pressure. The Eagles are standing firm, but how long can they hang on?
Morrison, now to Carroll, defensive 40. He's got Embley in the middle on, spots him now and goes to him. Wants to play on Embley, but runs himself into some trouble. Pike's got him in the crosshairs. Embley towards half forward, McDougall up in front. Michael got it to ground. Committing the body there was Chambers, he's wrapped up. Another ball up just forward of the centre circle for West Coast. They trail by a goal.
It's a game of football that doesn't even look like it's going to break open. Really just stop-start.
It's been gridlocked all afternoon. Neither side been able to get any sort of real flow or run on. Black, lingering tackle from Cousins, and Black wins the free kick. It's now with Brad Scott. Around the outer wing, can go inboard to Hart. Hart now outside to Corrie. The first gamer takes Lynch on, gives it to Pike. He thought about getting it back to Corrie. Does so now. They're running out of space. Back to Pike with the outside of the boot. Sneaks in for a minor score.
Out of bounds. Out of bounds.
Interesting. The goal umpires come across to call it behind, and the boundary umpires bringing it back. So again, we see West Coast just working Brisbane to the boundary line, giving them no space at all to operate in. And a throw in, 35 out from the Brisbane goal. Cox back towards the line. Pike and Morrison. Pike keeps it alive to Black. Pressure from Kerr. And yet another throw in. Inside 50s for the term. Brisbane 5-1. For only a return, however, of 3 behinds. And 1 behind to West Coast. Crowd starting to find some voice. It's a big crowd too. The 39,500. Balls with Brad Scott. Up and under inside 50. Copeland and Judd off their hands to the back for Brown. Tackled by Fletcher. He tries to keep it alive, and yet again we'll have a stoppage.
It is a big crowd. The biggest by 6,000 in games between these two teams. Hasn't been a brilliant contest, but it's been hard and tough, and a goal just separates them. How long can this Eagles defence hang on? Great stuff by Kerr through his body on the line. Embley, quick kick outside 50. Hunter's outnumbered. Pike put his body in front. Slipping over. Jones should go back by hand to Morrison. He does. Can the Eagles break a race for the middle? Embley gathers and goes. Scott chasing hard. Embley has a bounce. Scott still chases. Short pass inside 50. Phil Matera did it bounce. No, he's taken the mark. Errant boot in there. Accidental, I would say. And Phil Matera can go back from inside 50 for his 4th goal and tie up proceedings.
Everything really goes back to the strength of Daniel Kerr on that football. He committed his body right on the ball, got a head high at the same time, but just kept the football alive, allowing Chad Morrison to get that football over Andrew Embley. Fantastic defensive play from the young fella.
Philip Matera to tie the scores. McDougall will fly. They've got big numbers. Michael, you'd like 50 cents for every time he's done that in his career. He's the best spoiler in the business. There's Mel Michael. Wasn't a great kick off the boot. He's a big unit. There's Mel Michael. 5 points to margin. We've gone 10 minutes. Still plenty of time in this intriguing contest at Subi.
3 goals for to Phil Matera.
McGrath again plays onto himself. Gets some extra distance. Goes long towards the wing. Over the back of the contest. It was a chance for Shattuck. Didn't quite sit for him. Braun put his body in to force a contest. Shattuck on hands and knees. Black in close. Handball straight into the face of Lappin. Got it back. Idea was right. He had Ackermanis down the line in some space. But under pressure, the kick forced wide. And Chad Morrison, the beneficiary. The 7th touch coming up. Chips it short. Judd presents and takes the mark.
Brisbane now, all their players walking and working right up to the ground. No one inside their forward 50. Jonathan Brown, the closest at half forward.
Judd trying to pick a hole in that zone and did so well. What a beautiful kick. Right onto the chest of Daniel Kerr. Great pressure there from Corrie, but nothing he could do to stop that. Kerr looks to kick long. Matera now leads. Thinks again. Will thump it long. They'll contest 15 metres out from goal. McDougall in from the side. Embley off the hands of the pack. Snaps a goal. Eagles in front. Embley nearly gets his second.
There's a man on a mission.
We mentioned they had so many numbers back, Brisbane. In the end, Curtis decided to bomb it long, get numbers at the foot of the pack, and on that occasion it worked well.
Andrew Embley certainly was looking for that football. He got up there, worked very, very hard getting into the forward position. Called the football long. He was on all the time, but ended up being the man at the fore. First player up there. Very good work from Andrew Embley.
Chant goes around Subiaco Oval. They've arrested the lead back, albeit a slender one. Brisbane have been good in the clearances. Brown, a fickle bounce. Morrison, another handball receive. The 13th from Fletcher. And Braun has it on centering now. Chambers has run on for him down the ground. Took a long time to dispose of it. Was poor in the end. There were leads coming from Staker and Tira. There's a bit going on behind play. Brisbane have changed direction. Now Sampi will chase Notting down here and worry him out of it. And does well. They've lifted their rating. West Coast. Kerr to Hunter. He should give it back to Kerr. Kerr, strong tackle. Almost a give. It's a throw back to Sampi.
What a great tackle from McGrath. A goal saver.
And Brisbane have got men out wide. And Simon Black has really dug deep in his second half. A quiet first half to Corrie. Shepherd comes from Black. Corrie inside 50. Brown eyes for the footy. Eagles have numbers. Judd needs it clean. Always obliges. Kerr kept his eyes on the footy. Black lost the side of it. And these two are out of gas. Kerr is really struggling. He has worked ever so hard. Hunter's got off his man. McGrath's back with the flight. Got a nudge. Umpire said fair doing. He's taken it. McGrath not happy. Hunter may be too far out to score. Here it is again. There's the subtle push. Plenty of time.
Doesn't have much choice here.
Back to Judd. We take them on. Chip inside 50. Look at the ball, someone. McDougall's in. Johnson took his eye off it. The Brisbane defence at 6s and 7s, and McDougall has slipped in on his knees for a chest mark.
Just looking at that play, I just thought they thought that Judd was just going to go for a long kick. It just wasn't penetrating. Everyone just not reading the football there. Just very, very lucky. But McDougall keeping his eye on the football. That's all you can ask.
To be his third. He's had a couple of easy misses.
Well, he hasn't followed through his kicks in the last couple that he's missed, so he just needs to make sure that he's kicking this football well beyond its distance and follows through.
Squeaks it home. 7-point lead for the home team.
Well, again, it was just a very lucky possession, I think, for McDougall. His Judd's kick just hasn't penetrated the line. It's just because he's a little tired. He's had 26 possessions, Chris Judd, been a fantastic player. At the moment, just leading everybody the way as far as possessions concerned. He's an absolute superstar.
7 possessions, 5 marks, and 3 goals too for Andrew McDougall. West Coast 12-7-79. Brisbane 10-12-72. The home side by 7 points. We played 15 minutes in the final term. Voss to respond for the Lions. Now to Ackermanis. Long kick, 1-on-1. Power the chance for Brisbane. Clears the contest and runs out of bounds. So Brisbane down to 1 fit man on the bench. They're running out of soldiers. And West Coast back with a handy 7-point break. 15 minutes gone in the final term. Lions have to dig deep yet again. Sharman up against Seaby. Flipped it to the back of the contest, but no one there for Brisbane. Judd won't break the power tackle. Flipped it out. Voss disposed of Cousins. It's built to Lappin. Left foot snap from 45. Misses to the left. Nigel Lappin 1 goal 2 this afternoon. The margin back to an even goal as we tick over 16 minutes. Just over 9 remaining as Wirapunda again ponders whether to go short or long. options wide to the pockets. Decides to thump it long towards Lynch. Jones there to fly as well. Through his hands at the back, Seavey. Cousins through traffic. Had a couple to beat. Handball partly smothered. Ricocheted to Hart. Now to Black. Black spears inside 50. Where Punda couldn't quite hang on. McRae to tidy up. Handball into the path of Ackermanis. Braun there to put pressure on. It spills to Chambers. West Coast stand up again down back. They'll be happy to find the line. Nothing doing. Power to the top of the goal square. In from the side. Notting. Off the ground. Misses. He had a free run at the pack, Tim Notting, on that occasion. Couldn't quite hang on. Sockers through for a behind. And the pressure enormous down back for the West Coast Eagle defence.
Really did have the fly on the football. Should have done a lot better than that. Notting, but he's just got himself all caught up in the air.
5 points to margin. The smell of the draw in the air. Lynch. Sharman should mark this, although he's going to be outnumbered 2-on-1. Embley has pulled it in underneath him. Brisbane have numbers out wide. They find Voss, who goes short. He's gone wide. Rare error.
Well, hasn't had a great day, Voss, but you just don't expect that. Had Power sitting out there behind, who was a direct opposition, was Fletcher. It was miles off him. An opportunity going begging for the Brisbane Lions. Very unusual mistake for the skipper.
Another dodgy kick in, Tim. Brisbane had enormous numbers at ground level when that one hit the deck.
Wapunda down the line. Again, Michael. Pumps it down. Groves, front of the pack by Embley. McGrath. Here is Voss. Loops it over the top to Michael. Good bump by McDougall. Forced the turnover. Embley having a good last quarter. Look out. Judd tackled by Ackermanis. Hunter took his eye off it. Voss gathered it. Ball up centre wing. Judd hands on knees.
Humidity really taking its toll. The players of both sides looking very fatigued.
I think we saw that with Sean Hart at three-quarter time. Labouring, done a fantastic job on Cousins.
Embley having a great last quarter. Simon Blake feigning for a free kick, didn't get it. Will the bounce of the ball favour Hart? He gathers, being herded up, looks inside. Voss took a long time. Now he kicks back to that pocket for Power. Didn't get a fine bounce. Lynch has gone to ground. Cousins was led and should get a free kick and does. We go back. 5 points to lead. We're about to enter time on. Still plenty of time. Low scoring contest. 79 plays 74. 39,666. A turn through the turnstiles here at Subiaco Oval. What is an intriguing contest. A lot on the line for West Coast. Lose this game, they'll be 1-3.
They struggled getting out of their back half. Cousins not a penetrating kick. Opportunity for Brisbane.
Again, they decide to go long. McDougall in best position. Again, Michael, a well-timed fist. Spills to Lappin at ground level. Has Voss on the left. Tugs it to the pocket. Chance for Hart and Cousins. Cousins with body strength stood up. Pike wrapped him up. Carroll. Now to Braun, happy to take it to the line. Succeeds in doing so. Throw in. Pressure football. It's been like this all afternoon. Neither side has been able to break the shackles. So many contests, so many stoppages. And Brisbane have dominated them 43-27 in clearances this afternoon. Could be telling in the last couple of minutes. Lappin uses Black. Now to Hart. Can line it up from 35. Tries to bend it back. Can't quite do so. Big opportunity goes begging for the Brisbane Lions. The margin now 4 points. Ticked over 20 minutes in the final term. 6.5 remaining. Now it's Quinton Lynch in the hot seat. He's got the job that no one wants. That's kicking in for the West Coast at the moment. He'll thump it long. Booming kick. Carroll and Sharman. Spills to the back. Kerr. Over and out.
Probably the best result the West Coast Eagles have had. You can see the humidity is taking its toll. Even Kerr now having problems with cramp in the calf muscles.
It needs to come off. He's signalling to come off. Waters is warming up. Hot Waters. Comes to Lappin inside 50. Ackermanis wants to turn his man. Braun inside out. Now Lynch is back. He's got to rush it through. He's got a man out wide, Wapunda. So he keeps the cool head. Now he's got to find someone. Embley will be the target. Did well, Embley. Scott wants to make a contest. Forced the spoil. Good shepherd from Kerr. Embley Exactly, was he out? Doesn't matter now. It's on the hands of Seavey. Kerr down again behind play. Staker on the lead. Doesn't take the mark. Pushed off it easily by Shattuck. He goes back. Michael's got a problem. Swung in the tackle. A good tackle too by Sandby. They're under pressure, Brisbane. The ball will spill out. Staker tries to eke it out. Umpire said, I'll ball it up as Kerr comes off.
Gee, that was good work from Daniel Kerr. That was the last little bit of juice he had left in the tank, Peter. And it set up that passage for West Coast.
You can see the motor just conking out, but a great shepherd. Fantastic to see that from a strong midfielder.
Ordinary bounce. Michael has to punch it down. No free kick call. Fletcher, Sharman, through traffic, throws it on the boot. Still plenty of time to tick over 5 minutes. Carroll hits it hard. He's out number 3 to 1. Trent Carroll, but did well to lock the ball up. Who was caught behind him. And Trent Carroll, often much maligned, did well in that contest. Had to share the ball, Peter Wilson.
Yeah, we always talk about Trent not being overly flash at his feet. Just did that very, very well. Good, strong body work.
Well, this is a war of attrition. Chad Fletcher cramping up as well for West Coast. We know Brisbane are short on numbers. It's really going to come down in the last 5 minutes as to who wants it more. Mental strength to push yourself through the pain barrier. The ball's with Morrison, forward of the wing. Hunter leads. Matera screaming for it at the top of the square. Dangerous kick. But Seavey made it good. West Coast retained possession, 60 from home.
Also a confident mark from the young fella in his first game. It really does look like he's going to be all right this week.
Done some impressive things. Will launch it long from 60. It'll go to the goal square. Another enormous pack of players. Almost a mark to West Coast. Staker, pinched by McGrath. Still under pressure down there, the Brisbane defence. McGrath kept his head over it and diffused a potentially explosive situation. Gained an extra 25 or 30 metres, and now we'll have a ball up 40 metres out from goal instead of 15.
Seen a couple of players staged for free kicks. Ackermanis did it earlier in the third quarter. Judd then, umpires not having a bar of it.
Sharman the tap, beautifully down into the path of power, but he gave it up to Embley. He is smothered. And it's been the sort of tough, physical, gritty, mentally challenging game that Worsfold and Lee Matthews would have really enjoyed themselves as players.
It certainly has been a change of game plan for the West Coast Eagles, who have just been peppering the goals all year.
Another bounce. Look at the numbers around this ball. Michael fists it clear of the congestion. Corey ran onto it, got a kind bounce. He's outnumbered at the moment. Morrison brushes Voss, gives it to McDougall and now gets it back. Runs to 70, Chad Morrison chips inside 50. Brisbane with numbers, they missed it up. Matera will snap and throws it wide out of bounds on the full. The Eagles couldn't make that miscommunication from the Brisbane defence count on that occasion. Just over 3 remaining, the margin 4 points.
Great game. Brisbane want to change it up, and Michael goes short to Scott. 3 minutes. They just have to kick a goal. They've kicked 10 for the day. Brisbane. Johnson's on his own, but Michael decides to go for the long option to the wing. McLaren up. Rode by Brown. Give to Voss. Kick half smothered. Makes it to half forward. Pike overruns it. Carroll back first. Got one high and Hart, was it?
Yeah, Sean Hart just coming through. Getting a light brush across the elbow, I'd suggest. Very little in it for a head like Trent Carroll.
Judd forced to kick under pressure, but Jones is coming one way, Simon Black the other. Eagles collide, clean ball, taken by Hart to Lappin, 50 out. Ackermanis stumbled at the wrong moment. Braun, front spot, 50-50 ball. Voss is working over the top of him. Rapunda, deft touch, comes back to Judd. He's slung, ball comes out wide. Black on the left boot. Up and under, they need some brave men here. The fly was Lynch. It comes to Notting, to Morrison. Strong tackle lingered, holding the man.
Very clever play there by Chad Morrison. You can see Ackermanis coming on. Just always had his measure as far as speed concerned. Just got it away at the right time. Very, very nerve-biting when it comes to being in the back half.
Chambers was loose. He's done some good things in this last quarter, Callum Chambers. Under 2 minutes to go. Eagles lead by 4 points. Chambers forced to kick with the left boot. The possession had to be good. Shattuck up. Strong mark in front of Staker. Brisbane with one last roll of the dice with 90 seconds to go. And all but 2 players forward of the ball. They'll set up from centre half back through Brad Scott.
Shattuck Croppy, as you saw as well. Brad Scott now has it. Switches play to Johnson, trying to open up something down the line. Man on man all over the ground now, West Coast. Every man has an opponent. Johnson thumps it long. Good hard running from Corey to present an option. Ball stays alive. Lynch stands up, bumped the youngster off, and the ball's out of bounds. Corey's heart was in his mouth, I think, for a moment there as Lynch started to take off with the football. He was hoping the boundary umpire called it out. He did, and with 61 seconds remaining, you expect games like this to break open at some stage, and this one just hasn't. It's just stayed an arm wrestle all afternoon. What a gritty contest it's been. McLaren got the tap. Black. Can the champions pull something from the fire? Voss to the 50. One-on-one. Lynch worked Brown under the ball. Bounce to the pocket. McRae and Ackermanis. Ackermanis taken down by Braun. Still alive. Lynch over the top of it. They pile in. And a bounce with 36:35 now on the clock.
They'd be happy the Eagles if that ball stayed in. Clock doesn't stop.
Under 30 seconds. They've dominated the stoppages. Brisbane, they need one here. Powers being held by the jumper. Spills free to Lappin. Shoots for goal. Misses. That was the opportunity.
I think they've had more than one opportunity, Brisbane, so far in this last quarter. They've just peppered away. At the moment, you'd have to calculate the Eagles have been very lucky with some of the misses. Very uncharacteristic for the Brisbane Lions players.
With 15 seconds remaining, West Coast just have to kill this ball. Now to Embley. He can hold on to it in the back pocket. It was a crunch game for the West Coast Eagles. They were 1 and 2. They were challenged. And fittingly, the ball finishes in the hands of Chris Judd. As more than 39,500 fans celebrated Subiaco. Congratulations to both sides for a gutsy contest. Neither one stood down, but went right to the wire. In the end, Brisbane ran out of foot soldiers. The Eagles held their nerve. And West Coast 12-7-79 have defeated the Brisbane Lions 10-16-76.
Well, the Brisbane Lions like to keep their opposition down to 12 goals. They've managed to do that here at Subiaco Oval today, but haven't won a game of football. Intriguing style of football from both sides, Tim Gossage, something we haven't seen from the West Coast Eagles under John Horsfeld for a year and a half.
Chris Judd had a game-high 30 possessions, kicked a goal, and he's downstairs with Lockie Reed.
Well, Juddy, you were jumping around, celebrating at them. That's an important win for the club.
Very much so. So our first win at home, and having lost a couple of close ones really means a lot to all the boys.
Tell us just how hard it was.
Oh, they're a pretty physical team, and they run pretty hard too. So, I mean, they're the best team in the comp, so it's always pretty hard, but it's great to get the 4 points.
The pressure mounted on you about winning at home. Was there a fair bit of pressure leading into this game?
Oh, a little bit, but I mean, the players don't take too much notice of that. We just stick to our routine and prepare as well as we can.
How did you finish the game? Because you were sensational all the way through.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, well, no worries.
Speechless, mate. Good on you. Good game.
Chris Judd physically spent, as are so many of the players on both sides. Brisbane lost Bradshaw before the opening bounce. They lost Justin Leppich 15 minutes into the first quarter. They lost Blake Carousella just before three-quarter time. And don't worry, there were plenty of West Coast Eagles feeling it as well. 24 degrees in very, very humid conditions. And in the end, the Eagles home by 3 points in a good, honest contest.
They've won their last 3 against Brisbane, West Coast. Fair to say, when was the last time Brisbane probably lost 3 in a row against any team?
It's a great result for the Eagles.
Well, I think we've don't want to take anything away from the victory, but you've got to say they're missing a lot of players, Brisbane.
Lockie Reed with Michael Voss.
Well, Vossy, thanks for joining us. An absolutely unbelievable game.
Yeah, it was. I think both sides had their chances. I mean, we might have made skill errors today, and they cost you in the end. We just couldn't get our forward structure and our scoring right, but right mix. But yeah, the basic guys tried their butts off, and it was good.
Didn't help you though, losing Bradshaw and also Leppich throughout the game. You were down to one man on the bench at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, injuries come and they go, but the guys out here just give it the best crack they possibly can, and it was a good effort by the guys, but too short on the scoreboard.
Would have nice to have Alistair Lynch on your side, I suppose.
Oh, it always is when you got someone like him, but sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture with him. So
Not much we can do about that.
Thanks for joining us, Fossey. Well done.
Philosophical and gracious as always, Michael Voss. Great win for the West Coast Eagles. They're second for the season. They're now 2-2, and it reads a hell of a lot better than 1-3.
It does. Quality of the man, Michael Voss, to give an interview on ground after you've been beaten in the nail biter, just basically says a lot about him, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. Look, you just expect it from Michael Voss. He carries himself so well. He's a fantastic captain and a brilliant player. John Worsfold in the middle of the ground here, congratulating his team on a very good victory here at Subiaco Oval, because it really was a season for me on the line.
Yeah, it could have been ugly. It could have been an ugly month, just the one win if they'd been beaten today, but they showed true character, and he was ice cold in the box every time they went there. He's pretty unflappable, John Worsfold.
Yes, coming around. He's no doubt been to lunch with Lee Matthews a few times and just learning something from him, because Matthews is renowned for the same thing. The game, though, really has been fantastic when you look at some of the matchups. Black and Kerr at it all day. Two ex-teammates from East Fremantle. Ackermanis and Braun, what a great tussle that ended up being just towards the end as well, when Braun just laid that last tackle on Ackermanis. Never too far away from each other all day. Some of these great players put on a different performance, but a very good one.
Lovers of old-fashioned football often bemoan the fact that there's so many uncontested possessions in games. There's so many players out in open space, chipping it around. Today's game just wasn't like that, was it? It was an old-style contest. Lots of one-on-one battles all over the ground. A stack of stoppages, blokes putting their bodies on the line and wearing some hits for their team.
Yeah, and you look at that especially. Sean Hart, what a great job he's done on Cousins. He still had 24 possession, but just didn't punish them on the rebound, which other players that play on Cousins sometimes don't do. He's only had the 1 point. If he'd kicked 1 or 2 goals, really could have been the difference.
And that man, Daniel Chick, did a fine job also on Michael Voss early. Was given the task, and a shame that he went off the ground with that cork thigh. But so much to smile about for the West Coast Eagles. Chris Judd, doesn't he just love playing big games against Brisbane? We know what he did up there last year. Just a super player, and as you said, Jason, fitting that he had the ball in his hands at the end of the game.
Love to watch some highlights on Judd, wouldn't you? Just time and time again how he managed to get through such short or small gaps between two players.
2 goals to 7 straight behinds in the final term, costing the Brisbane Lions. They kicked 7 behinds to West Coast Eagles 2 goals to. In the end, the Eagles led by 5 points at quarter time, got that out to 12 points at half time. They were 15 or 16 points out midway through the third term. Brisbane then dug deep, hit the front after the 3/4 time siren with Dylan McLaren's first goal in league football. It was the Lions by 4 points at the final change. And then a gripping final term, players going down like flies on both sides. In the end, the West Coast Eagles 12-7-79, prevailing over the gallant Brisbane Lions 10-16-76 in front of 39,666 fans at Subiaco. A good old-fashioned, gritty, tough, at-it-all-day contest.
Some real positives, some of the young fellas playing their first game of football. Subi, very good, very happy with the way. Nice steady on his left foot, uses the football very well. But of course for Brisbane, just another player jumping up into their numbers. Corey, I thought he really does show he's going to be an excitement machine for the Brisbane Lions.
Charman and Cox, that was a good battle. The ruck contest was enthralling. No big names out there. Charman, McLaren, and of course Cox and Seaby. I was intrigued by that. With no Gardner there, I was just added to it. Come on.
Charman, though, really did lead from the front. Very, very strong. As we see the young fella going off in his first game, that's something he's always going to remember. Well done, young Seaby. Welcome to the big time.
Fair first game to be involved in.
Did well, Mark Seaby. And a moment he will never forget in his life. He leads his side off after a thrilling 3-point win. And what an introduction to league football. He's probably walking off absolutely exhausted thinking, gee, are they all as tough as that one? The answer's no, they're not all as tough as that game. That was a particularly physically brutal game of footy.
It certainly was, and I think Daniel Chick is wearing that. The way he went in there and hit Brown, that was just amazing clash. I'm sure Daniel Chick finished the day off. But some good performance from the lesser lights. Trent Carroll being one of those. I thought his performance was very good today.
Get in there, Bo.
West Coast Eagles. They improved their record to 2-2 in season 2004. Brisbane Lions now 3-1 as we take a look at the quarter-by-quarter splits. West Coast by 5 at quarter time, out to 2 goals by half time. Brisbane with 6 goals to 4 in the third term, snatched back the lead at 3-quarter time. They led by 4 points. But then West Coast with the only 2 goals in the final term to sneak home 12-7-79, defeating the Brisbane Lions 10-16-76. And when you look at that inside 50 stat, scroll straight down to the bottom of the page, quite extraordinary. There wouldn't have been too many sides in recent history that have won a game of football with only 35 inside 50s, particularly when you concede 59 to the opposition. But what that does say, Peter, it's full credit to the West Coast defence, because they had the ball down there a hell of a lot this afternoon and they stood tall when it mattered.
Yeah, they certainly did, Jason. I mean, you look at Trent Carroll, Quinton Lynch, you know, not renowned, I guess, centre or spine players, but they really did stand up today and did a fantastic job. David Wettapundik got around the ground fantastically in the back half, rebound after rebound. Callum Chambers, just quickly saw him on screen. He also helped come out of the back half today. Great to see some of the lesser lights of the side stepping up.
Andrew McDougall finished with 3 goals for the Eagles, as did Philip Matera. Andrew Embley with 2. While for the Brisbane Lions, Craig McRae 2 goals and Jonathan Brown 2 goals in what was a gripping contest from go to woe. In the end, the West Coast Eagles coming from 4 points down at 3-quarter time to win a thriller by 3 points. On behalf of Tim Gossage, Peter Wilson and the entire production team, it's good afternoon from Subiaco. The Eagles home by 3 points.